Currently, Heavenly Divine Palace lacked young and promising disciples, but there were a lot of such disciples in Nine Heaven School and Devil-Killing Divine City. On the other hand, Nine Heaven School and Devil-Killing Divine City lacked experts with upper and middle strength, causing many disciples to not be able to receive the best guidance. Currently, Heavenly Divine Palace lacked young and promising disciples, but there were a lot of such disciples in Nine Heaven School and Devil-Killing Divine City. On the other hand, Nine Heaven School and Devil-Killing Divine City lacked experts with upper and middle strength, causing many disciples to not be able to receive the best guidance. On the other hand, many of Heavenly Divine Palace's upper CLA's and powerful antiques they could really complement each other. After Chen Xiang briefly told Great Divine Lord about the situation between Nine Heaven School and himself, the Great Divine Lord also nodded, indicating that he would definitely come into contact with the Nine Heaven School and ask about the matter of the alliance. Great Divine Lord, I came here to ask you if you have these materials for refining weapons. Chen Xiang took out a list, on which was written the ingredients needed to refine the pill furnace. When Great Divine Lord saw it, he laughed. You must be refining a pill furnace. I am currently lacking a good pill furnace, and my wife just so happened to find the blueprint from the Divine Book Paas, said down by your 9 brothers. She is lacking in materials. Chen Xiang said. I have all of these. Great Divine Lord immediately took out 3 storage bags. Take these ingredients. If you successfully refine the pill furnace, you must show them to me. I want to know how much of that divine book your wife has in her possession. Your wife is too incredible, she can even refine a pill furnace of that level herself. She's not the only one, there are a few, Chen Xiang said. Great Divine Lord only laughed. He obviously understood what Chen Xiang meant. Yu Jie came to find me. She is currently in the process of refining pills, and she needs a good pill furnace as well, so I will give you a lot of ingredients. When the time comes, use them well. The reason why our divine nations of the 9th heaven rose in power all those years ago was mainly because of the powerful alchemist. Chen Xiang nodded her head. This was also the reason why Feng Yujie wanted to walk down the pill Dao. It was because she had inherited one of the 9 divine kings' pill refining skills from the past. Great Divine Lord, when exactly is this 9 heaven world going to devour Super God realm? Chen Xiang asked. The Super God realm has a lot of resources, but if the 9 heaven world were to take over the Super God realm now, facing the strong warriors and powerful beasts of the Super God realm, we are still very weak. Once it is annexed, it will be difficult for the 9 heaven world to be destroyed in the future. If it develops smoothly in the future, it will become a strong and prosperous world. If you establish a relations Hi+P with other powerful worlds, then the development will be even faster. Great Divine Lord said. As far as I know, the rules of the Star Law Divine Realm are pretty good. When the time comes, I'll go pay a visit to the Star Law Divine Realm and see if I can establish a transmission array with them. Other than the Star Law Divine Realm, is there any other world? Chen Xiang asked. Because the powerhouses in charge of the Star Law Divine Realm wanted to live forever and kill undead divine race, they had left a very bad impression on Chen Xiang. It's just that we don't understand them as we do. The one closest to us is the Star Law Divine Realm. Of course, we don't necessarily just establish a relations Hi+P with the Star Law Divine Realm. When that time comes, the Star Law Divine Realm will become our stepping stone, and we will be able to understand other powerful worlds through the Star Law Divine Realm. Then, we can learn from their experiences and develop our world. The Great Divine Lord said, It's still too early to say all these. First, the 9 heaven world has to swallow the Super God realm and then develop it peacefully for a period of time. With the threat of the 9 Gods nation, this gave the Great Divine Lord a headache, and the heavenly divine lord who had wanted to do this had been annihilated by the 9 nations divine lord, which resulted in this world becoming a slowly growing world even though there was the powerful divine lord. Great divine lord, do you understand the matters above 9 nation now? Chen Xiang was more interested in the matters above. I know a bit, but I'm quite concerned about it right now. Because once the upper management stabilizes, they will start to deal with me. 9 divine kings laughed out loud. I am their old rival. Right now, the more optimistic thing is that divine lord and some old fellows will be leaving together. Although their lives won't be long, they aren't willing to die like this, so they have to look for their path to longevity. Speaking to here, great divine lord sighed, because he knew that he would soon be on this path as well. No matter how powerful they were, they couldn't withstand the ravages of time. Many experts who had reached the peak of their power, unable to break through, had died this way. Then I'll leave first, I'm still in a hurry to go back. Chen Xiang laughed. My wife has always been worried about the lack of materials. If she knew that there was so much, she would definitely be very happy. Great divine lord nodded his head. These few days I have also collected some things about you. You are indeed my amazing little ghost. The great divine lord immediately opened a spatial tunnel, allowing Chen Xiang to come to the side of a city. The next time he came, he would just have to shout for Chu Yunhui at the door. It was already afternoon when he returned to Hundreds of Flowers village. Lu Menger, Xue Xianxian, and the other 3 were in the courtyard handling the materials that had been smelted in the furnace. You're back so soon. Any gains? Xue Xianxian asked as she controlled a piece of refining material that had fused into a liquid and put it into the jar. It looked to be extremely difficult, as the ball of liquid also emitted a purple flame and gave off a very high heat. Chen Xiang walked over and wiped off the sweat on her forehead and laughed. Of course there is, and there's even a lot of it. You guys will be busy in the future. If you have time, go find Sister Feng and the others and ask them what kind of pill furnaces they need. Great Divine Lord gave me a lot of ingredients, so I can make a few. Lu Menger said. Xiang, you told us before, they need a large-scale pill furnace. They also want to learn from our method of smelting together. In other words, a few people's minds were linked and they would simultaneously control a pill furnace to concoct pills together. This was the case for and the others when refining. This way they would be able to refine many things that were difficult to refine without being too strong. They all cultivate heavenly alchemy to refine pills. I think they will definitely work together well. Dongfang Xinhua said. And they also have more people than us. On their side are Xiang Yu, Qianshan, Mei Yao, Ji Linger, Hong Xia, and Feng Yujie. Oh right, there's also another Yan Yao. Ji Linger and Red Cloud? Chen Xiang was a little surprised. They can refine pills now too? Of course they can. Weren't they Sister Feng's daughters before? Yan Yao and Yu Yu are both Sister Feng's daughters now. Dongfang Xinhua giggled. Lu Menger said, At that time, I will go and find them to have a talk. According to their needs, I will refine a good great pill furnace for them. Just now, Big Sister Violet Orchid came. She said that she has something to discuss with you. She probably wants to talk about the selection compet. 1 Tian. Xue Xianxian received the storage bag that Chen Xiang handed over and patted his face while laughing. Don't hit Yulan and Qianxiang too hard, or else this girl will complain to me. Chen Xiang partic. I.P. Aiding in the compet. I. Tian was also to see the strength of Ling Yulan and Mu Qianxiang. He had also heard that Yun Xiaodao and the others partic. I.P. aided as well, so it was not bad to have a match with these old friends of his. Chen Xiang partic. 1 P. Aiding in the compet. 1 Tian was also to see the strength of Ling Yulan and Mu Qianxiang. He had also heard that Yun Xiaodao and the others partic. 1 P. Aided as well, so it was not bad to have a match with these old friends of his. I know how to act. Chen Xiang would obviously not harm Ling Yulan and her, these were her sisters. When Chen Xiang arrived at the 100 Flowers Pavilion, he found that Yan Xilan had something he needed to talk to him about. It seemed to be an urgent matter. Sister Xilan, isn't the compet 1. Tian still a few days away? When Chen Xiang arrived at the top of 100 Flowers Pavilion, Yan Xilan was already waiting for him in the hall. Yes, there are still a few more days. I just found out about some of the compet Tian's specific details. I'll tell you first so that you can prepare. Yan Xilan took out a small booklet. All of them are registrants. When the time comes, we will draw lots to decide our opponents. Chen Xiang took the booklet and looked through it, and as expected, he saw Yun Xiaodao and a few other familiar names. Yanran and Lan Lan are not partic. 1p aiding. Chen Xiang laughed. Could it be that your Hundreds of Flowers village only sent you Lan and Qianxiang? Chen Xiang said. Yanran and Lan Lan are not interested in any of this. If you look again, you should be able to see a familiar name. Yan Xilan laughed. Our Hundreds of Flowers village has sent 4 disciples, and 2 of them are not human. Not human? Chen Xiang immediately thought of Yunzhu and Bai Xing, and said, Could it be Yunzhu and Bai Xing? I haven't seen them in a long time. Are they all right? Of course they are, but they are all out on missions. Last time, I contacted them and said that you're back. They really wanted to come back and see you immediately. Yan Xilan laughed. The 2 of them are not partic. 1p. Aiding in the selection either. Chen Xiang flipped through the booklet, and suddenly saw 2 very familiar names. Ji Meixian and Shuang. Shuang was that Phoenix princess who was taken in by LV Qilian as a disciple. Even if it was the Phoenix princess, she is of the same race as the beautiful fairy, so her strength is also equally matched. Yunzhu, Bai Xing, the 2 of them and little Lizzie are a small team, so they are very efficient in what they do. Yan Xilan suddenly laughed. Little Lizzie doesn't have a good impression of you, but I can see that she truly respects you from the bottom of her heart. I heard from Qilian that you often take liberties with little Lizzie, and want to make him your wife. They're all just joking. Chen Xiang burst into laughter. Although little Lizzie was a spoiled Xiao Linglong, she was very spicy and looked like chili, but once she peeled off that piece of lychee skin, she couldn't wait to put it in her mouth. Chen Xiang felt that he had never been able to peel off that layer successfully. Right now, only Shui Ying and the beautiful Ji O Des have returned to partic. 1p8 in this compet. 1 Tian. Little Lizzie's group is still outside. Yan Xilan said, When the time comes, it would be extremely possible for you to face Shui Ying and the beautiful Ji O Des on the stage, hee. Chen Xiang said, Don't worry, I won't hurt them. The preliminaries are originally all done by our own people. I also want to try my best to get a place in the compet. 1. Tian, H.E.L. Devil Emperor and the others have made such a condition, so they must have full confidence in winning. Maybe they even borrowed a strong helper from the divine nations. Yan Xilan nodded his head. Right now, the 4 of them are undergoing their final training. I heard that the ones in charge of training them are you and your sister Ziqian. If they are the instructors, then I will have to be careful when the time comes. He understood Bai Yuyu and Bai Ziqian very well. Both of them dared to lay a hand on Bai Ziqian, and they were a little bit demonic in nature. What about you? Are you that confident that you're not prepared? Yan Xilan chuckled. To be honest, I also want to see how miserable you got being beaten up by your 2 younger sisters. Chen Xiang said snappily. So even you don't think well of me. But you will definitely be disappointed. I am so powerful now, even if the 2 of them are working together, the ones in a sorry state will definitely be them. Anyone can brag. Yan Xilan chuckled. But don't worry, they temporarily won't know about you partic. 1. P. Aiding in the selection, so when you're undergoing training, there won't be any training aimed at you. The sky had already darkened. Chen Xiang rushed to the training room and repeatedly practiced his strongest moves. Not only did he need to prepare for the compet. Tian, he also needed to prepare to fight against H.E.L. Devil Emperor, so he needed to grab some time to practice. After a few days, Chen Xiang had already been notified that he would be going to the city lord's mansion to gather tomorrow morning. These few days, he had been asking Yan Xilan whether or not his team of pill refining was free, and he really wanted to see Hua Xiangyue and Su Meiyao, the two goblins. They are still concocting pills. They are all going to rest for a period of time, and then undergo closed-door training to refine a period of time. Right now, it seems that they are both refining low and medium-grade divine pellets, which also requires a very long time. Yan Xilan said, "They are considered to be the foundation of the Hundreds of Flowers village. The pills they provide can help us become stronger even faster." Yue flew in. She had just come from Hundreds of Flowers village. "Isn't Bing Yan coming?" Chen Xiang asked. It was already night and the compet. Tian was starting tomorrow morning. No, she and Big Sis Long spend all their time discussing cultivation. Sometimes they go into closed-door cultivation very late. Yue replied, "She might be coming to watch your match tomorrow. I've mentioned this to her before." Yan Xilan hugged Yue and said with a tender smile, "Yue, sleep with me tonight, I'll go to City Lord's mansion with you tomorrow. While you're at it, tell me about this little scoundrel in the Super God realm." "All right." Yue was extremely willing as she rubbed her small head against Yan Xilan's soft chest. Chen Xiang curled his lips and returned to his room to rest. In the middle of the night, Chen Xiang suddenly woke up. He was a little nervous because he thought that the people fighting with him were his old friends and sister, and he had just returned from Super God realm. In comparison to the time he had here, he had lost a lot of time. On the other hand, Yun Xiaodao and the others had to cultivate for many years using dragon veins and various pellets before they could gain the strength of 6 divine deity. By then, he would definitely not be weak. And Ling Yulan had white dragon vein, adding on the Dao Heart Stone that Shui Bingyan provided her with. It was possible that she had already grasped the laws of ice, and her strength was even more unfathomable. What Mu Qianxiang received was the Sword Emperor's legacy, and since W.A.N.G. genes H.I. plus was the Sword G.O.D's daughter, he would definitely teach her a lot. Chen Xiang felt that W.A.N.G. genes H.I. plus would definitely guide them along with Bai Yuyu and Bai Ziqian. Xiao Dao and the others are also very powerful, with devil-killing Heavenly G.O.D. and penalty Heavenly G.O.D's guidance, and the Sword G.O.D. who controls the G.O.D. murdering sword techniques is also in the 9 Heaven School. Before, Black Dragon and Black Turtle had also been in 9 Heaven School for a while. They had only met up with the White Tiger in Super God realm for a short period of time. When Chen Xiang thought of all these, he was really a little worried in the depths of his heart. It was just like Wu Kaming had said, it would not be good if his mighty name was destroyed. Junior brother. Just as Chen Xiang was thinking, there were people knocking on his door, and only W.A.N.G. genes H.I. plus would call him junior brother. He quickly got up and opened the door, and sure enough, he saw W.A.N.G. genes H.I. plus. It was still half the night, and W.E.N.G. genes.H.I. plus and the others were already here. It was still half the night, and W.A.N.G. genes H.I. plus and the others were already here. Sister Yu Yu, Sister Ziqian. When Chen Xiang saw the cold and frosty witch dressed in a black dress, he was elated. This was because he had rarely seen the two sisters together in the past few years. In the past, Chen Xiang had already felt that Bai Yuyu's demonic qi was heavy, but now, compared to Bai Ziqian, she could be considered normal. Bai Ziqian's purple eyes and the poison hook at the end of her ponytail made her look extremely dangerous. Coupled with her cold and elegant expression and ice-cold eyes that were filled with killing intent, it made people feel terrified. Bai Yuyu nodded her head slightly. Even though she still looked cold, the way she looked at Chen Xiang was filled with gentleness and happiness. She was able to tell that she was very happy to see Chen Xiang again after such a long time. Chen Xiang anxiously walked out of the hall and smiled. "Shuang, fairy beauty, long time no see, I never thought that you two enemies are together now, you look quite like sisters." Ji Meixian was once Chen Xiang's female slave, and was originally an extremely cold and arrogant woman. However, she was hit by Chen Xiang a few times, and as time passed, she became extremely respectful to Chen Xiang. She was even Bai Ziqian's cousin. What Chen Xiang did not understand was that although Ji Meixian was his cousin, he could still partake. 1p8 in the compet. 1 Tian. Because the compet. 1 Tian required 6 divine deity, and Bai Yuyu and Bai Ziqian had more than 6 divine deity. Sister Yu, are you not going to partake? 1p8? Chen Xiang looked at Bai Yuyu and the other two in charge of training. It's not suitable for me and my sister. Bai Yuyu replied. We are not suitable for a battle, we are only suitable to kill. The corner of Chen Xiang's eyes twitched. After so many years of not seeing him, this Bai Yuyu was still as murderous as ever. W. A. N. G. Jeans. Hi plus laughed. I am now at the 7th divine deity level, otherwise I would have gone to join in the fun. They did not know that Chen Xiang had also partook. 1p aided in the compet. 1 Tian. Although Yan Xilan and the others knew about it, Chen Xiang had instructed them not to let Ling Yulan and Mu Qianxiang know about it. Ji Meixian smiled faintly at Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang, I remember you are a very combative person. Are you not partook? 1p aiding as well? Just as Chen Xiang was thinking about how to answer, Yan Xilan and Yue walked out from their room. Chen Xiang hastily sent a sound transmission to them, telling them not to spread the news about him partook. 1p aiding in the compet. 1 Tian, because he wanted to give Ling Yulan a pleasant surprise. Phoenix. And there's even the undying bird. Although she had heard about the relations, Hi plus P between Ji Meixian and his family, she had never seen them before. Chen Xiang suddenly thought of something, the phoenix could be reborn, and the undying bird would also be reborn. This might have something to do with the undead divine race. Little kitty, you're so awesome. You can see our main bodies directly. Shui Ying was a phoenix princess, but a very pure phoenix flame. She is Yue, the mysterious kitten that Bing Yan mentioned. The mischievous Ling Yulan grabbed Yue and began to tickle her, causing her to giggle non-stop. Shuang, where's your father? Chen Xiang asked. The strength of the Phoenix King was not bad. He should be very strong by now. He was taken away by a senior many years ago. I don't know where he went. Shui Ying shook her head. She was initially surrounded and attacked by the young disciples of many forces and was almost sullied. It was Chen Xiang who saved her, so she had a good impression of Chen Xiang. After that, she joined the Hundreds of Flowers Palace and became LV Qilian's disciple. After she and Mu Qianxiang became sex sisters, she got a better understanding of Chen Xiang and knew some of his romantic affairs. Chen Xiang was sitting on a chair, trembling as he watched Ling Yulan and Mu Qianxiang teasing Yue, when he suddenly felt a burst of cold air pressing on him. Bai Ziqian had actually come behind him. Chen Xiang remembered that Bai Ziqian had obtained the legacy of an ancient poison God King back then, and grasped an extremely terrifying ancient poison. That was why he had been captured by the combined forces of the various powers. Sister Ziqian. Sit down. Chen Xiang felt that he was extremely uneasy seeing Bai Ziqian standing behind him despite her close proximity. He was extremely afraid of this poisonous woman, because she was not like Lv Chinlian, who was a gentle and lovable spirit. What are you afraid of? Could it be that I will poison you? Bai Ziqian found it funny, but she did not laugh out loud. I just wanted to ask you, did you encounter any poison in Super G.O.D realm? No, if there were, I would have given it to you a long time ago. Sister Ziqian, you have received the inheritance of the ancient poison G.O.D king, so the poison you have now should be very terrifying. Qin Xiang laughed dryly. I'm worried that even I won't be able to defend against your poison. Bai Yu said, you don't have to be afraid of Big Sister, she's currently very good at controlling her poison. I have been with her for so long, but nothing like this has happened either. Ling Yulan teased from the side. If old brother is dishonest, then you must have some tricks towards Sister Ziqian, for sure. If you want to try and see if you still have impenetrable towards Big Sister Ziqian, you better tell her directly, don't take liberties with her. Little girl, am I your brother, that kind of person? Qin Xiang rolled his eyes at her. I have never teased her before. Really? Bai Ziqian's voice chilled, causing the hearts of everyone present to feel a chill. They were all very surprised. Qin Xiang had really taken liberties with Bai Ziqian before. They were clear that Qin Xiang was such a pervert, they didn't expect him to be so reckless. I think so. I don't remember too well. Qin Xiang was also shocked by Bai Ziqian. As expected, the inheritance of the ancient poison God king had become extremely frightening. The corner of Bai Ziqian's mouth raised slightly, and this faint smile made her look extremely charming and beautiful. Bai Yu, who was sitting by the side, saw that Qin Xiang was so frightened that his face paled, and he couldn't help but chuckle softly. Brat, you don't seem to have the courage you used to have. Bai Ziqian's slender and jade-like hands suddenly caressed Qin Xiang's face. Her actions looked extremely charming, and she was actually teasing Qin Xiang. Qin Xiang took a small breath and said, I suddenly have something to ask you. Who do you think will be the one to obtain the 3 spots? You have 4 girls partic. 1 p-8ing. No one replied him. All of the girls watched as Bai Ziqian's delicate hands caressed Qin Xiang's cheeks and neck. They didn't know why Bai Ziqian would do such a thing. Qin Xiang knew that Bai Ziqian was testing his impenetrable physique to see if he could resist this kind of teasing. It's pretty amazing. My poison doesn't seem to be very effective against you. Bai Ziqian retracted his hand and said with slightly creased brows, but you don't need to be too pleased. The poison that I used just now was only my weakest, and I do not dare to test you with poison that is too strong. Qin Xiang was also sweating profusely. This was an extremely terrifying ancient poison, and one that came from a divine king. If something unexpected happened, he wouldn't be able to partic. I.P.8 in the compet. I.Tian. Qin Xiang was also sweating profusely. This was an extremely terrifying ancient poison, and one that came from a divine king. If something unexpected happened, he wouldn't be able to partic. 1 p-8 in the compet. 1 Tian. Sister Ziqian, how strong is your strongest poison? Qin Xiang sighed a breath of relief and asked. I don't know. I rarely use my most powerful poison against enemies. Bai Ziqian shook his head. But it's hard to say in the future. Right now, many people know that I'm in the Hundreds of Flowers village. Yue replied, what are you afraid of? Divine Nations has used too much poison, it's not any weaker than yours. From what I know, there are a few Divine Nations who specialize in nurturing powerful poison kings, and they are openly using them. Of course, if you use this poison to harm the common people, then you will definitely be besieged. Is there really a strong poison expert in the Divine Nations? Bai Ziqian was very interested in this. Of course. Some guys are hard to kill, so you'll need to use poison. Yue nodded her head. When I was surrounded that year, a few guys tried to poison me. Qin Xiang was very clear about Yue's background. He felt that Yue must be very knowledgeable and should also be relatively knowledgeable in the field of poison, since she didn't say that he was poisoned. Yan Xilan yawned and said, "What are you guys doing here so early? You should have a good rest and go partic. 1p8 in the tournament during the day. Isn't there a room here? We'll rest here for a while." Ling Yulan pulled Mu Qianxiang and walked towards a room and said, "This room is big enough, there are still 2 beds, let's rest here." Ji Meixian and Shui Ying also walked over and brought out 2 beds. Bai Ziqian and Bai Yuyu also walked in. After the few girls returned to their room, Chen Xiang touched the place where Bai Ziqian touched him before, and after taking a whiff, there was actually a faint fragrance remaining. "This woman really used poison on me, this poisonous scent is quite powerful." Chen Xiang currently could not feel the poison enter his body, but he could discern it from the stimulation from the fragrance that was on his nose. "I smell it." Yue also flew over and sniffed at Chen Xiang's face. "Wah! This poison is a kind of flower poison, it can be found in the Star Law Divine Realm, but it's very rare, and can be considered a very terrifying poison, even Gods would find it very easy to poison." Yue was surprised. "This woman is really scary. However, you aren't lazy either. She isn't poisoned." Chen Xiang frowned. "It's very strange, since even the Star Law Divine Realm rarely sees poisons. Why does Sister Ziqian have them? She should have been raised based on the legacy of the ancient poison God, and many of the poisonous creatures were transformed under certain conditions." Yue said, "I'm going to rest too." Chen Xiang had already sent them a sound transmission saying that he should not spread the news of him partic. 1p. Aiding in the compet. 1 Tian. Returning to his room, Chen Xiang didn't think of anything and entered into sleep. It wasn't until he felt something that looked like hair on his face, causing him to suddenly wake up, that Chen Xiang, who was being mischievous, began to use the ends of his hair to tease him. "Stupid girl!" Chen Xiang immediately reached out to pinch her beautiful face, and pinched a piece of her cheek. Ling Yulan also hurriedly reached out her hands to pinch his face, then laid on his body. "Brother, we haven't kissed in a long time, I don't remember the last time, but I still remember that feeling." Chen Xiang looked at the door, it was already closed by Ling Yulan, and the sky was just starting to brighten. "Girl you!" Chen Xiang snickered in annoyance. "I'll kiss you, don't you dare spout nonsense." Ling Yulan nodded, closed her eyes, and slightly lifted her small mouth. Very quickly, she had a taste of that feeling. Chen Xiang had gone to City Lord's mansion with them on the carriage, and when they arrived, they were called to a place to draw lots because they were women, which would determine who their opponents were. After Chen Xiang came to this place, he said that he wanted to meet his old friend, and then disappeared without a trace. He quietly ran to the place where the lots were drawn. There were not many people partic. 1p. Aiding in the compet. 1 Tian, only 70 or 80 of them, and all of them were outstanding disciples from cities or powers that had allied with 9 Heaven School. It was not that 9 Heaven School and devil-killing divine city partic. 1p. Aided the most, other forces partic. 1p. Aided the majority. Elder brother Shen, what are you doing here? When Yun Xiaodao saw Chen Xiang, he was a little surprised. At first, he thought that Chen Xiang would come to draw lots, but after thinking about it, he felt that Chen Xiang should not come to partic. 1p8. Has the drawing of lots begun? Chen Xiang looked around furtively, as if he was afraid that someone might find out. You want to partic? 1p8? Duan Sanchang asked in surprise. Chen Xiang nodded. Don't tell Yulan and the other girls that I'm going to give them a surprise. Then I won't partic. 1p8. With you here, not only will I not be able to win, I'll even be beaten. Duan Sanchang acted as if he was sure that Chen Xiang would win, and he was even a little afraid of him. XV Weilong nodded his head. I will not partic. 1p8 either. I was originally not interested in that matter, and was only called over by Clan Elder Wu. Zhu Rong laughed. It's a hole in the ground, you old fool. You all are really cowardly. Is Chen Xiang really that strong? Duan Sanchong curled his lips and said, It's precisely because he doesn't look strong that he's scary. You're not underestimating him, are you? Old pig, your brain has always been pretty good. Zhu Rong said, Today's compet. 1. Tian has its limit. I don't think Chen Xiang has much of a chance of victory, so what if he has bones? His bones can only be unleashed with great power, so his control over it ought to be a little weaker than his divine deity. Yun Xiaodao laughed. Old pig, I hope that you can draw lots to fight with Chen Xiang. That way you can clearly understand Chen Xiang's true strength. Duan Sanchong also laughed. At that time, even if your pig head gets beaten into a cow's head, I am not certain. Chen Xiang smiled faintly. Don't praise me anymore, I'm actually not that strong. I just want to give you Lan and Qianxiang a pleasant surprise. I haven't taken much care of them in years, so even if I lose badly and destroy the good guys, I don't think it's a big deal. Zhu Rong laughed out loud and said, You really are a good brother. Your two violent little sisters are indeed frightening, and even I think that I only have a 60% chance of winning against them. XV Weilong said, Old pig, did you pick up some super divine pellet? Why are you so confident today? I have always been so confident. Don't you think that after all these years, if I didn't have any ability, I would have been able to survive till now? Don't you see, when we were training together, didn't the danger we met with dissolve due to my calmness and confidence? Zhu Rong took out a large roasted leg and took a large bite. I'm going to eat a big meal first, only then will I have strength to fight. Wu Kaming came and shouted, Little devils, quickly come and test how many divine deity you have. This is to prevent the people from the 7 divine deity from sneaking in. Chen Xiang never thought that he would actually have to test how many divine deity he had. Right now, he was very curious about how Wu Kaming had tested, and most people only knew how strong the aura exuded from each person's body was, but he could only make a very vague guess, and could not accurately determine how many divine deity they had. Chen Xiang never thought that he would actually have to test how many divine deity he had. Right now, he was very curious about how Wu Kaming had tested, and most people only knew how strong the aura exuded from each person's body was, but he could only make a very vague guess, and could not accurately determine how many divine deity they had. Wu Kaming glanced at Chen Xiang and smiled at him. Then, he took out a large black ball and placed it on the ground. Elder Wu, how do you figure out how many divine deity are there? This test is definitely not accurate. If we were to meet a fellow with 7 divine deity, wouldn't we be at a disadvantage? He was very worried about this problem because he was very confident in his own strength. However, it was difficult for him to win against the 7 divine deity, so he was very concerned about this test. Wu Kaming laughed. Don't worry, the test results are very accurate. We have tested it many times, and at the same time we are also testing the people from the H.E.L. Devil Emperor. At that time, H.E.L. Devil Emperor will also take out something similar to this to test us. Under Wu Kaming's urging, everyone started to queue up to take the test. There was a pit at the side of the black ball that was just large enough to fit one's head inside. The moment the top of the head touched the hole, the finger-sized holes on the ball would light up with white light. There were a few holes that would light up with divine deity. What Chen Xiang did not expect was that there were actually 5 divine deity partic. 1 P ants partic. 1 P. Aiding in the selection as well, and it wasn't just one person. He had thought that other than himself, the others would all belong to the 6th divine deity. Yun Xiaodao and the others were together, with Chen Xiang standing right in the middle of them. Yun Xiaodao had 6 divine deities, 6 holes in his body, and then it was Zhu Rong's turn. Duan Sanchong and XV Weilong had already decided not to partic. 1 P8. They were originally behind Chen Xiang, but now they walked out of the line. Have you improved at all these days? Wu Kaming sent a sound transmission to Chen Xiang, because previously, Chen Xiang only had 4 divine deity. No, little Baldy, you don't have to worry about me. When the time comes, I will definitely surprise you. However, there was one thing that was more strange, that was that the white light coming from one of the holes was extremely dazzling. All the people who tested had never seen such a bright hole before, so one could tell that Chen Xiang had an exceptionally strong divine deity. This divine deity was the 4th divine deity that Chen Xiang had condensed not long ago. He knew that this divine deity was very strong, but he did not expect it to appear on the test treasure. The light is very strong. Wu Kaming was also secretly surprised in his heart. He and Gu Dongchen had used this test method to test themselves, but they had never used such a bright hole like Chen Xiang's. In other words, Chen Xiang's divine deity was much stronger than their own. Chen Xiang also felt that it was strange, even though his 4th divine deity was strong, it shouldn't be brighter than in Supreme God. Everyone was rather curious about the item. 1. Tai Chen Xiang had given them. They knew Yun Xiaodao and Zhu Rong, and some were in the same squad as them. Only had 4 divine deity, but they were very familiar with him. After the exam, there weren't any 7 divine deity. This made Wu Kaming feel relieved and said, "Let's begin the drawing of lots. Although all the people here are men, they will still compete with the women here. As long as you get the same number, you'll be an opponent." Wu Kaming took out a box that had also been specially refined. Everyone started to queue up for the lot. Every lot had a number written on them. After drawing the lot, Wu Kaming would register for it, then see if the 2 people got the same number. It only took a short while to finish, and Chen Xiang received lot number 13. "Are you really number 13? Zhu Rong opened his eyes wide. "Isn't this too much of a coincidence?" Seeing Zhu Rong's expression, Chen Xiang knew that he had obtained number 13. He never thought that he would be able to fight Zhu Rong in his first match, with so many familiar faces partic. 1p. Aiding in the compet. 1. Tian, it was very normal for them to meet each other at the start. It was just that Chen Xiang was more interested in fighting Ling Yulan or Mu Qianxiang first. "Old pig, you must have been scared to the point of peeing." Yun Xiaodao laughed. "Little Yun, don't look down on me, I'm not afraid. I'm just a bit sorry that I didn't match up to you, so that I could beat you until you cried." Zhu Rong was really not afraid at all. He even patted Chen Xiang's shoulder and said, "I'm sorry I had to kill you in the first round. Leave the matter of teaching your 2 barbaric little sisters to me." "Oh right, little Yun, you better not get killed in the first round, or else don't walk together with me from now on." Zhu Rong laughed out loud. "But you don't have to worry, your luck has always been good, you should be able to get by." Yun Xiaodao snorted. "Old pig, I admit that you do have some power, but I still have to tell you, we have all witnessed how powerful elder brother Shern has always been. I suggest that you use your strongest power to fight against him from the start, otherwise don't you dare find excuses when you lose." Seeing that the 2 of them were about to argue, Duan Sanchong walked over and laughed. "Old Xie, do you want us to bet a bit? Let's see who wins." "I bet on my victory." Chen Xiang laughed. "I will also bet on elder brother Shun." Yun Xiaodao also laughed. "Wait. Seeing that you guys are betting on Chen Xiang, then I won't partic. 1p8, let's see how you guys play." Zhu Rong hastily interrupted them. "With Chen Xiang here, I normally won't partic. 1p8 in the gambling house. How about this, we bet on little Yun being able to make it to the second round. I can't bet, but 100,000 Shin Yuan stone. Old pig, I bet 1,000,000 yuan that I can make it through the first round. When that time comes, can you afford it?" Yun Xiaodao was also very confident. "Of course I can afford it." Zhu Rong said. He did not think highly of Yun Xiaodao. This made Chen Xiang feel that it was strange. Zhu Rong and Yun Xiaodao had been together for a long time, so he should know Yun Xiaodao's strength very clearly. At this time, Wu Keiming also took out a large piece of paper, placing it in front of them. Chen Xiang and the others who saw it from afar immediately found their names. Ha! Little Yun, your opponent is the young disciple of the penalty Heavenly G. Oh, you're finished. Zhu Rong laughed out loud. Chen Xiang also saw that Yun Xiaodao's opponent was called W.A.N. Ji Jing. Amongst the crowd, there were also a pair of eyes looking over. It was a skinny and lean man who had already walked over. Xiaodao, your opponent is me. W.A.N. Ji Jing smiled faintly. Although he was not very handsome, he gave people a very honest feeling. He bet $1 million that I could win, so W.A.N. Ji Jing don't lose, or else not only would I not be able to earn that 1 million, I would even have to compensate him. Zhu Rong said. I bet $1 million, bet that I can win. If you lose, you can just give me 200,000. If you win, you can get my 1 million. W.A.N. Ji Jing was extremely confident in himself. Alright. Yun Xiaodao nodded in agreement. It seemed that they all knew each other. Chen Xiang looked at the piece of paper on the wall. Ling Yulan's and Mu Qianxiang's opponents were both men, and they both had quite a background. Chen Xiang looked at the piece of paper on the wall. Ling Yulan's and Mu Qianxiang's opponents were both men, and they both had quite a background. It's starting. Let's go to the plaza. 10 fighting stages have been built there. Today we will be selecting the spots. Wu Keiming shouted, you all should already know your corresponding stage, just go there and wait. Chen Xiang was number 13, and corresponding to number 3, he would only be able to make it to the second round. Yun Xiaodao was number 7, he could go up right from the beginning, and Ling Yulan and Mu Qianxiang were also the first two. When they arrived at the large plaza inside the city lord's mansion, the group of girls were already there. Ling Yulan and the others already knew that Chen Xiang was partic. 1p. But when they saw that Chen Xiang did not say anything, they secretly rejoiced in their hearts. Although the lots in front were all drawn, they would definitely match later on. When Ji Meixian saw Chen Xiang and Yun Xiaodao walking over, he frowned. Chen Xiang, this guy really came. I have always hoped that everyone had the same surname. What's wrong with that? My brother doesn't have anything to be afraid of. Haven't you heard that you only spent a little time at Super G? Oh, D Realm's place? But we have been here for many years, and we have such a huge advantage in this aspect, we will definitely be able to beat him. Ling Yulan made a face at Chen Xiang from afar, sticking out her tongue. Mu Qianxiang laughed. Look at old pig, he is so calm, he is not afraid of me. But if old pig wins, wouldn't Big Brother be unable to go on to the next round? Yeah, old pig is pretty strong. Ling Yulan was also a little worried. She thought for a moment then laughed. It's fine. Shuang chuckled. Why don't you think highly of Chen Xiang? Back then, he was a famous person here. Wasn't it rumored that he never did anything without confidence? He must be quite confident to be here. Chen Xiang walked over, and knocked on Ling Yulan and Mu Qianxiang's heads and scolded. You two girls, you are getting more and more arrogant, to the point where you don't put me in your eyes anymore. Please do not give me the chance, otherwise I will definitely beat you up. It's not certain who will hit who. Mu Qianxiang touched the place where Chen Xiang was. Chai Ting and laughed. Chen Xiang, did you test your divine deity? How many divine deity do you have? W.A.N.G. Genes. Hi plus asked. Beside her, Bai Yuyu and Bai Ziqian were also very curious, waiting for his answer. Zhu Rong ran over and said, there are only 4 divine deities, they should be the ones with the least divine deity here today. Although he has the bones, he doesn't need to mind it. Really? Yan Xilan was a little surprised. She thought that Chen Xiang had at least 5 divine deities. Chen Xiang nodded. Actually, it's not bad. If Chen Xiang had so much time with us, he would have been 2G. Oh, delay by now. Zhu Rong said again. Everyone agreed with Zhu Rong's words. It was a good thing that Chen Xiang did not stay in the Super G. Oh. D realm for long, otherwise, the difference in time would have been even greater. Old pig, let my brother win. I want to fight him. Just as Ling Yulan finished speaking, Chen Xiang pinched her face and laughed. Yulan, all these years, you really have to discipline her properly. You don't have to worry. Even if we don't have a chance to fight today, I'll definitely fight you when we get back. Really? Great, you never wanted to fight us before. Ling Yulan was very happy, now that everyone knew Chen Xiang's ident. 1. Tai, they had obviously heard of him as an influential figure, and he was previously a big shot in their hearts. They didn't think that he would partake. 1. P. 8 in the selection with them today, and his divine deity was so low as well. Ling Yulan and Mu Qianxiang had already walked over, they were still trying to let Chen Xiang see their performance. Yun Xiaodao also walked up to stage 7. How strong is W? An Ji Jing? Chen Xiang asked. He is the disciple of the penalty Heavenly God, and received many legacies from the penalty Heavenly God. He is also a genius and very young, and many people like the penalty Heavenly God. Praise him. W. An Ji Jeans. Hi Plus said, previously there were many people who secretly made various lices and comparisons, and all of them felt that An Ji Jing was stronger than Xiao Dao. Chen Xiang, do you really only have 4 divine deities? Bai Yu asked in a low voice. Amen, but I have bones. My bones is not as weak as Zhu Rong said. As for how strong I am, you will see for yourselves. Chen Xiang smiled faintly. Bones required 2G. To cultivate it to come out. Although Yun Xiaodao and the others had all eaten bone-level Dan before, they did not have the opportunity to condense bones, so they did not eat anymore. After a long period of lysis, they came to the conclusion that the God could condense bones, which was why Zhu Rong believed that the God could use the power of bones. Duan Sanchang said, to be able to condense bones while under the supreme God is already an extremely difficult task. If it is to condense bones, then it means that Chen Xiang has a body foundation that is even better than ours. That's why Old Pig's thought was wrong. Even if Chen Xiang doesn't have bones, he would still be stronger than us. Because we are unable to condense bones. I look forward to it, XV Weilong said. The round had already started. Chen Xiang was more concerned about the fight between Yun Xiaodao and the 2. Penalty Heavenly God, Gu Dongchen and the others were already here, and they were all watching. They wanted to see the battles amongst these disciples to the limit, to let them understand these disciples better, so that they could formulate a more suitable cultivation plan for them in the future. They all knew that Chen Xiang would be partic. 1p aiding. As for whether or not he would be able to get one of the 3 places, they did not dare to make a decision. Yun Xiaodao was indeed very strong. His fists were like the power of a lightning bolt, and when he punched out, he only saw a streak of lightning. It was impossible to see his fists clearly. This is An Ji Jing's Punisher Thunder Fist. He cultivates a lightning attribute mysterious power. If there is no formation to block him from the stage, each of his punches would shake the entire stage. Duan Sanchang said, during a battle, one could not use weapons, so this was a test of one's cultivation technique and foundation. In comparison to Yun Xiaodao's fist techniques, he was much weaker. He used the power of thunder and fire, and it looked a little messy, but his movement skills were extremely good. He could easily avoid An Ji Jing's fist attacks that were as fast as lightning. It was just that his clothes and flesh would occasionally get scratched, so he had suffered some light injuries. Although Yun Xiaodao was dodging, he was also attacking non-stop. It was just that the power that he released when he punched was simply too weak when compared to W.A.N. Ji Jing's fist. The power of the fist, when facing W.A.N. Ji Jing's fist, was instantly shattered, and could not even touch W.A.N. Ji Jing's clothes. Many people present thought that Yun Xiaodao would definitely lose, but when using the Dao Heart Eye, Chen Xiang was able to see many things that others couldn't. Many people present thought that Yun Xiaodao would definitely lose, but when using the Dao Heart Eye, Chen Xiang was able to see many things that others couldn't. Although Yun Xiaodao had always been at a disadvantage, and had a few bruises on his body, and some parts of his body were even charred black by the berserk thunder power, his fist arts seemed to be disorderly, as if they were somewhat chaotic. However, Yun Xiaodao's footsteps did not change, the mysterious power steadily rushed towards his fist. If Yun Xiaodao was truly fluid tiered, then the first thing that came into disorder was the trajectory of his mysterious power. Chen Xiang could see all of these through the Dao Heart Eye. Yun Xiaodao seemed to be at a disadvantage and looked to be in a state of panic, but he had always been very steady, much more steady than W.A.N. Ji Jing, who was in front of him. W.A.N. Ji Jing always had a lot of mysterious power in the beginning. The ground was like a ing spring that gushed out from his arms. It released an extremely strong thunder power energy. Indeed, the battle was very fierce, and it looked very scary, but behind it, when W.A.N. Ji Jing tried his best, a very weak and breathless situation appeared. It was when the mysterious power poured into his arms that it became strong, but the fist that needed to surge out suddenly became weaker, and then W.A.N. Ji Jing felt that its power was not enough, so he forced out another burst of energy to strengthen his fists. After realizing all of these, Chen Xiang smiled slightly. After that, he realized that Chen Xiang would use his strength very appropriately after a few battles with Chen Xiang. At the same time, he would also use some tactics to exhaust the opponent's strength, making them feel that victory was right in front of them, allowing them to attack continuously. In the end, they would find an opening and then use a powerful attack. Facing an opponent who was slightly stronger than himself, he needed to do this even more. Little Yun is holding on. There are quite a few injuries on his body, and he received 2 punches just now. He should be holding in a mouthful of blood right now. Zhu Rong said. Had also seen it, but he realized that a wave of mysterious power was congealing in Yun Xiaodao's abdomen and chest. The 2 punches just now had very accurately hit the 2 defensive energies that he had condensed. Seeing this, Chen Xiang felt that Yun Xiaodao had an 80% chance of defeating the opponent, because W.A.N. Ji Jing's tempo was already being controlled by Yun Xiaodao. Yun Xiaodao could even accurately lead W.A.N. Ji Jing to hit the areas on his body that he had prepared earlier. Chen Xiang watched them seriously, to the point where he neglected Ling Yulan and Mu Qianxiang. They had already finished their battle and achieved victories, and when they came to Chen Xiang's side, Chen Xiang did not even notice. Only the knife isn't finished. Ling Yulan said. He's pretty impressive, holding on till now. Another kick. I almost fell out. Mu Qianxiang said. Chen Xiang had been using the Dao Heart Eye to observe the flow of energy in his and W.A.N. Ji Jing's body the entire time. He was carefully observing all the bones in his body, so he did not notice the passage of time. It's almost over. Chen Xiang could clearly see that W.A.N. Ji Jing's mysterious power had shrunk a little, and Yun Xiaodao had also accurately controlled his own mysterious power, causing his own mysterious power to weaken gradually. This made W.A.N. Ji Jing feel that the 2 of them were in the same situation of consumption, and had even deliberately taken 2 punches and a kick, making him feel that if this continued, Yun Xiaodao would be defeated. Is Xiaodao going to lose? XV Weilong was also worried. He should be losing. He's already sweating, and he's even panting. Zhu Rong said. What a pity, I still want to compete with him. Ling Yulan sighed. Right now, it was already very obvious that Yun Xiaodao was about to lose. No, Xiaodao will win. Chen Xiang suddenly said. This. Impossible, W. A.N.G. Jeans. H.I. Plus anxiously said. Xiaodao relies on his own mystical footwork, but his leg was struck by W. A.N.G. Jing's fist force just now, it seems like it will be difficult. Yan Xilan frowned. Chen Xiang, why do you think Xiaodao will win? Did you see something we didn't see? Because Chen Xiang had been watching them with rapt attention, even if Ling Yulan and Mu Qianxiang had asked him a few times whether he had seen their battle, Chen Xiang had not said a word. Chen Xiang nodded his head. From beginning to end, this battle, the rhythm of the battle has been controlled by Xiaodao, and you all have seen it too. Every time W.A.N.G. Jing's strongest fist force was blocked by the small knife, he would only receive a few punches that were slightly weaker than normal. The 10 or so punches he used to burn his skin were all of medium strength. If you all have been paying attention from the start, W.A.N.G. Jing has actually revealed himself twice, but this is only at the beginning stage. And at the back, there were a total of 5 times where the door was deliberately left open. From start to finish, Xiaodao did not take advantage of this to attack. Hearing Chen Xiang's words, everyone could not help but take a deep breath. What kind of patience did he have to be so far? In other words, Xiaodao is waiting for the best opportunity. This opportunity is almost here. From the beginning to the end, Xiaodao's weak fist force, along with his nimble footwork, did not consume much of his mysterious power. Chen Xiang laughed. But W.A.N.G. Jing. Zhu Rong scolded. When did little Yun become so evil? Chen Xiang, you couldn't be making this up, right? This guy is not like the one I know. Chen Xiang laughed. That's because you've never seen him meet a strong opponent during an official battle. This is a method of using the weak against the strong, and requires a certain amount of patience. Just as Chen Xiang finished speaking, W.A.N.G. Jing suddenly roared out. His agile and powerful body suddenly swelled up, revealing the sinister-looking muscles at the bottom of his clothes, his entire body flashed. H.I. plus ing with electric current. Time to end it. After W.A.N.G. Jing shouted, lightning bolts that came from all directions suddenly appeared on the stage and attacked Yun Xiaodao. Yun Xiaodao heaved a sigh of relief, a strong protective S.H.I. plus ELD suddenly appeared on his body. He was already prepared. This full-force blow of W.A.N.G. Jing's was blocked by Yun Xiaodao, who was already prepared for it, and the protective barrier on Yun Xiaodao's body was also destroyed. W.A.N.G. Jing was greatly shocked, and his originally inflated body also gradually shrunk. It's time to end this. Yun Xiaodao took a step forward in front of W.A.N.G. Jing, and a pair of fists suddenly released a red ball of fire that flickered with purple lightning. W.A.N.G. Jing had used too many mysterious powers to activate it. He had thought that Yun Xiaodao had exhausted a lot of his energy, so even if he could avoid that attack, he would not be able to counterattack. But he didn't expect that Yun Xiaodao would actually conserve so much energy. Just when he was unable to circulate his energy, Yun Xiaodao teleported to his side with an extremely strange movement technique. The 2 fists that had been accumulating energy for a long time smashed onto his body, sending him flying. The moment W.A.N.G. Jing was flung to the ground, Yun Xiaodao once again fell from above. Since he had been relying on his legs to dodge, the strongest part of Yun Xiaodao was not his fist arts, but his leg technique. I admit defeat, W.A.N.G. Jing knew that he would definitely be severely injured by his legs, so he quickly admitted defeat. Yun Xiaodao anxiously stopped his cultivation. He, who was initially like a falling meteor, had suddenly landed gently, causing many people to be secretly shocked. We really won, just like what my old bro said, Ling Yulan said. The reason Xiao Dao was able to control the rhythm of the battle was also because he had decent strength and was able to rely on his own movement technique. Xiao Dao was also able to control the rhythm of the battle because he was able to rely on his own movement technique. Chen Xiang said. Thus, during battle, we must not underestimate our opponent. Zhu Rong laughed. Chen Xiang, you really shouldn't say it out loud, because if it's like this, I will be on guard against you from the start. If you don't say it, and if you use this move against me, I might just throw in the towel. Mu Qianxiang nodded his head. That's right, brother, you're so stupid. Chen Xiang only smiled faintly and said, Old pig, it's our turn. Let's go. Zhu Rong was extremely calm as he walked up the stage. Through Yun Xiaodao's battle just now, Zhu Rong knew that he had to guard against Chen Xiang, but he was still a little worried. This was because Chen Xiang had analyzed Yun Xiaodao's tactics to him. Zhu Rong was extremely calm as he walked up the stage. Through Yun Xiaodao's battle just now, Zhu Rong knew that he had to guard against Chen Xiang, but he was still a little worried. This was because Chen Xiang had analyzed Yun Xiaodao's tactics to him. Chen Xiang only had 4 divine deity, so Zhu Rong had 2 more than him. Therefore, Zhu Rong felt that he had a great advantage in this area, and due to Chen Xiang's lack of divine deity, it was very difficult for him to make up for it with other aspects. At least, he had met opponents with fewer divine deity before, who were basically all killed by him in an instant. Therefore, he naturally believed that Chen Xiang definitely did not have much power to deal with him. I wonder what will happen. It's been a long time since I've seen Chen Xiang. Can he still create such a shocking miracle like back then? Devil-killing Heavenly God said. He's the only one who can comprehend my 7 devil-slaying kung fu. Zhu Rong is also quite strong. Don't just look at his glib tongue. He is also very fierce in battle. Gu Dongchen laughed. Of course, since Chen Xiang is so calm now, he shouldn't be too weak. Zhu Rong said, Chen Xiang, you cannot play any tricks, this is a fair and square battle. He felt that if Chen Xiang tried to play tricks, he wouldn't have much of a chance of winning. Chen Xiang laughed. Never play tricks. Begin! An old man below the stage suddenly shouted. Zhu Rong was the first to make a move. The moment his feet moved, a water vine suddenly appeared and wrapped around his feet. But Zhu Rong's reaction was extremely fast. With a loud roar, he channeled some energy into his legs, and instantly shattered the water vines Chen Xiang had released. At the same time, Chen Xiang came over to Zhu Rong's side and kicked at Zhu Rong's bulging stomach. Although Zhu Rong was fat, he was still a fatty who was unbelievably fast. When Chen Xiang kicked him out, he quickly turned his body to the side and shrunk his stomach, and after dodging Chen Xiang's kick, his fist shone with an azure light. He turned into a dragon head of fist force and roared as he rushed towards Chen Xiang. Boom! The fist force had not even reached Chen Xiang when it suddenly exploded, producing a burst of astral lightning that engulfed Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang did not expect that he would suddenly explode just as he was about to dodge the fist force. The sudden gale that enveloped him caused him to feel a bit of pain all around him that was green in color. Ha ha! Zhu Rong suddenly laughed out loud, and rushed towards Chen Xiang with both of his fists dragging a green rainbow in the air, releasing a very terrifying profound spirit qi. The mysterious power that kept on bursting out from his fists was like a dragon's roar, with an imposing manner that was extremely terrifying. At this time, Zhu Rong's entire body was bursting with violent energy. While he was running, he stomped on the ground, causing it to shake greatly, and even the floor that had protection from the array formation was destroyed by him. Very quickly, he arrived in front of Chen Xiang, who was entangled by the gale, and rammed his two fists onto Chen Xiang's face and chest. Don't be complacent. Both of Chen Xiang's hands swung out and lightly slapped onto Zhu Rong's fists. With a pa-la sound, lightning struck in succession, and when his fists collided with Zhu Rong's fists, a burst of piercing purple light shone out, while Zhu Rong was also pushed back by his strength. Zhu Rong's previous two moves had already exceeded his estimate of Chen Xiang's strength, but just as he was about to attack, he realized that Chen Xiang was not in his grasp. It's here. Chen Xiang's laughter came over. Zhu Rong anxiously looked to the left, at the same time throwing out a palm attack, the palm image that was accompanied by a berserk green astral wind enveloped over. However, Chen Xiang was not in that direction, but was behind him. Chen Xiang's palm had slapped onto Zhu Rong's back, and this palm seemed to not be too painful or itchy, causing everyone to feel that Chen Xiang had missed a good opportunity. But after Zhu Rong was gently hit by the palm, he felt that his upper body was a bit stiff, as if his bones was frozen solid. Zhu Rong scolded in his heart. He had always thought that since Chen Xiang was refining pills, his usage of the cold energy must be very weak. He never thought that it would actually be so powerful. Chen Xiang had used a bones technique, the cold moon divine power that Yuer had taught him. Zhu Rong now clearly understood that even though Chen Xiang had 4 divine deity, the power he was displaying was extremely terrifying, and he was even much stronger than him. He was already starting to panic and anxiously turned around, wanting to fiercely retaliate, but he realized that he had become much more slow. Zhu Rong sighed in his heart. His movements had already become much slower, but it was fatal for him, and no one knew why the sensitive Zhu Rong had suddenly slowed down. "Old pig, is that all you've got?" While Chen Xiang was speaking, a fist had already struck towards Zhu Rong's fat face. Chen Xiang's fist had just arrived, but he could already feel that terrifying scorching energy. Just now, Chen Xiang was still using the icy cold power, and in just a blink of an eye, he was already using the heat of the flames. Wasn't this switch a little too quickly? This was the meteor immortal power that Chen Xiang had learned. He channeled the 6 divine powers, and like a meteor, fiercely crashed into the inside of his bones, releasing a scorching, explosive force. The fist landed on Zhu Rong's face. Bang! With a loud explosion, Zhu Rong's face also lit up with a burst of flame. After that, he flew out of the ground, and in the blink of an eye, flew towards the stage, colliding into the stone wall at the side of the plaza that released the news, creating a huge hole. The loud explosion from that fist, just now, was still reverberating far away in the sky when Chen Xiang's fist turned red and emitted a bit of heat. Is this an old pig that I know? He was already stupefied by the large hole in the stone wall that Yun Xiaodao had made in the distance. Chen Xiang seemed to be extremely relaxed as he knocked down Zhu Rong, who was the strongest in their group, just like that. Zhu Rong crawled up from the pile of rubble. His face was swollen and red, like half of a pig head. He himself did not know what had happened, but he felt that after feeling the frightening power of Chen Xiang's fist, his mind had turned blank. Wu Kaming took a deep breath and asked devil-killing Heavenly Ji, "Oh, D beside him, what was that punch Chen Xiang threw just now? Is that power something the 4 divine deity possess?" Devil-killing Heavenly Ji, D was also unable to answer, and he was also very shocked. "I don't know, but it can be seen that his fist strike earlier used his left hand. If I'm not mistaken, it should be a part of his body that possesses bones." Chen Xiang's left arm possessed 2 divine deities and an extremely terrifying divine beast's divine soul. Adding to that sea of 6 divine powers, the power he produced was not a joke. Chen Xiang wins. Chen Xiang walked down from the arena and walked to the left side with a smile. Zhu Rong was still sitting on the ground in a daze. Zhu Rong looked at Chen Xiang's left hand that was still fuming, and his heart trembled. He immediately stood up and took a few steps back. Zhu Rong looked at Chen Xiang's left hand that was still fuming, and his heart trembled. He immediately stood up and took a few steps back. I lost. Is that the power of bones? Zhu Rong already knew how stupid he was before, to actually look down on Chen Xiang's bones so much. Zhu Rong laughed bitterly. Luckily I didn't bet with you, otherwise I would have lost miserably. He took out some ointment and smeared it on his face, gradually restoring his swollen face. It seemed that he still valued his image. Seeing Chen Xiang and Zhu Rong walking over, Yun Xiaodao laughed. Old pig, now you know how strong elder brother Shen is. I think you should continue being C.O.C. KY in the future. Zhu Rong only snorted. Losing to Chen Xiang is a very normal thing. Even if you were to fight him, you would also lose. But you were so complacent before, and you thought that Chen Xiang could not even withstand one blow, and now you're the one who can't even take one blow. Of course, Yun Xiaodao would not let go of this opportunity, and scolded Zhu Rong to his heart's content. Chen Xiang was dragged to the side. Leng Yulan had already seen the power Chen Xiang had displayed. It was much stronger than what she had imagined. Brother, I didn't expect you to have such a good foundation. This will be more interesting. Leng Yulan laughed. Although she did not see Zhu Rong as a good example, looking at her like this, she still felt that she would win. W. A. N. G. Jeans. H.I. Plus said, Yulan, you've already seen it. Your brother isn't weak. He still has many moves that he hasn't used yet. Don't underestimate him. Ji Meixian and Xue Ying were both in the second round, so Xue Ying lost to a tall and skinny man. This man came from the devil-killing divine city, and was rather strong, and had the ability to restrain beasts. Ji Meixian's opponent was not strong, so she could easily win. Soon, the second round had finished. Half of the party, 1p ants had already left. Next, there was the drawing of lots for the third round. Many people had been injured in the first 2 rounds, so they had 4 hours to heal. After drawing lots, Chen Xiang did not meet his acquaintance. Instead, it was Yun Xiaodao and Ji Meixian who met. After the 2 rounds, another half of the contestants were eliminated. Chen Xiang had defeated his opponent with ease, lost to Yun Xiaodao, and Yun Xiaodao had won with difficulty. There were only 16 people left. Next up would be the 8 groups of contestants. After the third round of lot drawing, Leng Yulan was wild with joy, because she had finally become Chen Xiang's opponent. And Mu Qianxiang, unluckily, knew how to fight Yun Xiaodao. It had to be said that of the 16, only Leng Yulan and Mu Qianxiang were females. Although there had been many females from other forces before, all of them had been defeated, and they had no choice but to withdraw. 6 hours should be enough time for you to recover. This time, they were given more time because in the last round of the battle, many of the opponents they had encountered were all very strong. Some of the injuries were not light, and with the help of high-level medicinal pills, their recovery speed was also very fast. In these 6 hours, Leng Yulan actually closed his eyes to rest, and adjusted his own state. She knew that Chen Xiang was very strong, and in order to have a good fight, she had to adjust herself to her best state, and at the same time, adjust her own state of mind. She reminded herself that she should not underestimate Chen Xiang. After resting, Chen Xiang walked onto the stage. Leng Yulan followed behind him with a serious face, but she suddenly became nervous. Mu Qianxiang also wanted to see the battle between Chen Xiang and herself, but she wanted to fight against Yun Xiaodao. Yun Xiaodao was not weak either, so she needed to fight seriously as well. If only Chen Xiang had 6 divine deity, all of his opponents would have been killed instantly by him. Zhu Rong said, "Amen, his bones is very powerful. We have also eaten many bone-level dan, but we are unable to condense bones. Could it be that condensing bones requires a very strong physical body?" Duan Sanchang said, "Chen Xiang is a madman who cultivates the body. It looks like if we want to cultivate bones under the Supreme G.O.D., we must first strengthen our own body." XV Weilong had the same thought. Chen Xiang had fought with Leng Yulan before as well, but at that time, the difference in their strengths was too great, and now, they were extremely close. Leng Yulan suddenly laughed. "Bro, I think I can beat you. I am not being arrogant. This is the confidence that you must have in a battle. If you don't even have that confidence, then I don't need to fight anymore." Chen Xiang nodded. "That's right, we must not be cowardly. This is a good thing. I won't hold back after a while, I also want to see how strong you are." Chen Xiang and Leng Yulan stood there and did not attack. After the shouting started, they looked at each other, and then moved together, attacking towards each other at an extremely fast speed. When Leng Yulan took a step forward, a pair of jade fists were covered in a layer of purple frost. The two of them moved extremely fast, and before Leng Yulan could even get close to Chen Xiang, he threw out a punch. What surprised Chen Xiang was that there was actually a white gigantic sword SLA's HI+ing towards him. Leng Yulan's transformation just now was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, he had already condensed an enormous frost sword from the extremely terrifying icy cold power. Weapons are not allowed to be used in battles, but this type of profound strength divine weapon that is condensed from mysterious power can be used. Leng Yulan was an expert in using the sword, and only with the sword would she be able to unleash her strongest power, so she had released a portion of the mysterious power from the very beginning, condensing it into a type of weapon to use. This also meant that from the very beginning, she had consumed a portion of her mysterious power. She did not plan to keep the battle going, but to end it quickly. That's right. Letting your advantage be used in battle will only benefit you. Chen Xiang laughed. As he spoke, Leng Yulan had already thrust it out several times, although they did not pierce him. Each of the frigid sword chi formed a vortex that reverberated across the stage. As Chen Xiang was enveloped by the icy cold power, he also felt cold. He anxiously used his energy to resist. Leng Yulan's cold energy was used pretty well, and could actually invade his body. Leng Yulan suddenly raised her giant icy sword high up and shouted. An array formation was instantly condensed on top of it, and seeing the array patterns, Chen Xiang was shocked. Leng Yulan had actually set up the array from the very beginning. After he discovered it now, it was already too late. Because Leng Yulan had already activated the killing array, countless gigantic ice swords flew down from the formation and stabbed down like a sudden rain. Chen Xiang was already locked on, as though his body had a suction force. The ice greatsword that was falling down from the great array was flying towards him. No matter how he dodged, it would always hit his body. Chen Xiang did not dodge, because with this unnecessary action, he did not know what powerful array Leng Yulan used, to actually have such a miraculous power. Chen Xiang did not dodge, because with this unnecessary action, he did not know what powerful array Leng Yulan used, to actually have such a miraculous power. At this moment, raging flames were raging under his skin. He had used the scorching sun heavenly elephant from his art of breeding heavenly elephants to make his body feel the scorching heat on the surface of the scorching sun. In just 10 breaths of time, Chen Xiang felt as if he was being pierced by over 1,000 of these cold greatswords. The killing array that Leng Yulan used was not simple. If he did not focus his attention to deal with it, he would definitely die here. Chen Xiang understood this type of killing array the best. The killing array stopped its attack. The runes floating in the air slowly dimmed down. The place was filled with the icy cold power that Leng Yulan had released. The runes that were quickly forming in mid-air could instantly form an array pattern. This must have been done many times. Chen Xiang never thought that the who always hated spirit grain could actually train to such an extent. Leng Yulan was still far away, and she knew that it was extremely dangerous to approach Chen Xiang, especially that fist strike Chen Xiang used to attack him was something she secretly remembered in her heart. The moment Chen Xiang got close to her, if she could not push him back, it would be extremely dangerous. Right after the ice sword killing formation ended, Chen Xiang felt that something was wrong with the ice beneath his feet. He instantly thought of something and jumped fiercely, but his legs were firmly held back and he was actually unable to raise his feet. So all of that was done on purpose to distract me. The formation beneath my feet is. Just as Chen Xiang reacted, Leng Yulan had already rushed over from behind him. She used her large sword to slap him ruthlessly from the side, wanting to knock him down so that Chen Xiang would lose. However, the moment her ice greatsword touched Chen Xiang's cheek, Chen Xiang's cheeks suddenly turned into a red-hot lump of metal. When her ice sword touched Chen Xiang's extremely hot cheek, it directly melted into mist. Come here. Chen Xiang channeled his energy with his two swords, and the thick ice beneath his feet started to spin, turning into a vortex. Leng Yulan, who was standing far away, suddenly appeared in front of Chen Xiang in the blink of an eye, and she was actually brought over by Chen Xiang. Spatial energy. Leng Yulan was extremely shocked. She had never seen spatial energy of this level before. Without her permission, he actually allowed her to move, and under normal circumstances, would require her to be in a relaxed state to be able to move. Right now, she was fighting and did not relax at all, but Chen Xiang had actually managed to get her here without anyone noticing. Hey! Chen Xiang laughed. The impact of the meteor immortal power's punch had already struck towards Leng Yulan's jade face. Surprised, Leng Yulan immediately wanted to retreat, but found himself stepping on the ground, his fist accurately landing on her face. F. The moment Chen Xiang's fist struck, she could only block it with her face, but of course, she was still in great pain. Leng Yulan was originally going to be knocked flying, but when she flew to the edge of the fighting stage, for some reason, she suddenly changed directions and flew towards Chen Xiang, who was in the middle of the stage. She could very clearly see Chen Xiang's fist flying towards her, but right now, her face was flying towards Chen Xiang's fist. Boom! The shock wave produced by the explosion of his power was even more powerful than the shock wave caused by the frost above the arena turning into ice crystals. Although Leng Yulan had also created a thick layer of ice to block on his face, the power of the meteor immortal power was not only scorching hot, it also had a very strong penetrating power. Leng Yulan was completely dazed by Chen Xiang's punch. Divine Sense C trembled slightly, the sound reverberating throughout the air, and he immediately flew out of the fighting arena. Aya! Leng Yulan fell onto the ground, then sat up and shook her head. After her headache had lessened by a lot, she looked at Chen Xiang, who was giggling on the stage with a face full of resentment. I can try again. Leng Yulan was unconvinced. Bro, you're using your spatial power, this is not fair. Zhu Rong secretly rejoiced in his heart when he saw that Leng Yulan had been punched twice. If Chen Xiang had also used that spatial energy to play with him, then he would have truly become a pighead. After so many years, Chen Xiang's control over spatial energy had also improved greatly. Chen Xiang laughed. I never said I won't use it, it's also a part of my power. Yulan, when you go back, learn how to seal the S.P.A.C. around you. Chen Xiang patted Yulan's head and laughed. You're already not bad, your series of attacks just now surprised me. Of course, even if I don't use spatial force, I can defeat you. However, I need a bit more time, so I want to end it quickly. Seeing Chen Xiang easily defeat Leng Yulan, everyone had a new understanding of his current strength. What made them fearful was that Chen Xiang had still hidden terrifying strength, and it was far from being as simple as it seemed on the surface. All right, I admit defeat. Leng Yulan pouted and said. Just now, she had personally felt Chen Xiang's meteor immortal power, and it was truly terrifying. In order to block these two punches, she had already used the majority of her mysterious power. If she had blocked a few more punches, her divine sense C would have been hollowed out. At this time, Mu Qianxiang and Yun Xiaodao were still engaged in an intense battle, and Mu Qianxiang was actually suppressed by Yun Xiaodao. Chen Xiang could not help but frown, and Yun Xiaodao's hidden strength also surprised him. This little Yun actually did not bring out his true strength against W. A. N. G. Jing. On the contrary, using schemes and tricks, look at W. A. N. G. Jing, his face is turning green. Zhu Rong laughed out loud. Looks like this guy will use the same tactics on whoever he wants to deal with. Chen Xiang nodded his head. He felt that if he were to use that tactic on W. A. N. G. Jing, he would definitely win, and it would not consume too much energy, and he would not reveal his true strength. That's why he acted like that. At the same time, he treated the battlefield as a training ground. Xiao Xiang's ultimate move has been called. Leng Yulan suddenly shouted. The entire stage started to tremble. 6 swords of different shapes surrounded Mu Qianxiang, and these were not real swords. Chen Xiang was shocked. What is this? After Mu Qianxiang fell into a difficult situation and was just about to be defeated by Yun Xiaodao, the moment she released these 6 divine swords, which surrounded her body, Yun Xiaodao immediately did not dare to get closer. Let's go. Mu Qianxiang controlled the 6 swords to fly towards Yun Xiaodao. Yun Xiaodao retreated a few steps. He was fully prepared to counterattack, but all of the 6 swords suddenly turned into rays of light and lit up Yun Xiaodao. Surprisingly, this ray of light had a strong impact, causing him to feel as if his body was struck by a flying boulder. B-A-S-T-A-R-D. Yun Xiaodao cursed under his breath, and then was flung off the stage. Equals. Good news. Pride of the World, limited to 1 day on June 11th in the O and Read the Free channel. Please take note. /r/375845849/ CM equals M35000005. Mu Qianxiang heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Yun Xiaodao fall off the stage. That was close. I initially did not want to use this move, but I did not expect to be forced out here. Mu Qianxiang heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Yun Xiaodao fall off the stage. That was close. I initially did not want to use this move, but I did not expect to be forced out here. It was a Stony's HI+ing that she was able to release 6 such strange swords, but she was actually not a real weapon. Just like Leng Yulan, she had condensed them using her own divine power, and some cultivators were even able to condense their own portion of the divine power into a divine weapon in times of danger. The next round would be drawing lots. As long as they could obtain the victory of the next round, then 2 spots would be determined. Then, the 2 people who had lost would fight another round, and they would obtain the final spot. Chen Xiang and Mu Qianxiang had both entered the next round, and were drawing lots with 2 men who looked extremely similar. You 2 are brothers? Chen Xiang asked curiously. The 2 men looked handsome and wore white clothes. They both smiled and nodded. After drawing lots, Chen Xiang actually did not fight with Mu Qianxiang, but chose to be modest and polite with one of the men. The big brother's name was Zhou Qiang and the little brother's name was Zhou Xing. Chen Xiang understood that the strength of the divine city was also not bad, and the city lord was also a rare genius. This was what he had heard from W. A. N. G. Genes, H.I. Plus and Yen Xilan, and they did not know much about it either. Chen Xiang and Mu Qianxiang had 4 hours of rest. At this time, Yen Xilan and the others were also gathering various information on their opponents, but they didn't gain anything. We noticed their fight just now. These 2 are very strong, and they won easily, or their opponents were too weak, so we couldn't force them to use their strongest power. In short, their fight ended very quickly, and their opponents wouldn't be able to last 3 moves. Duan Sanchong said. The 2 brothers were also the highlight of today's match. Mu Qianxiang said, Brother, as long as we win this fight, we will be able to fight. Leng Yulan laughed. Xiao Xiang, don't hide it from the beginning. Use your strongest strength as soon as possible to prevent yourself from being defeated like me, who has yet to unleash my true strength. Mu Qianxiang nodded his head, but Chen Xiang was a little worried. That pair of brothers of the Zhou family seemed to be not bad, and they were also very talkative, giving pointers to the people who lost to them just now, making them feel extremely respectful to them. I have been to the great Zhou Empire once, and this divine city existed since long ago. Every time there was a crisis, this divine city would mysteriously disappear. Penalty Heavenly G.O.D. said. This city lord is a good person, I have come into contact with him twice, and it is all because someone ran to his divine city with me as my captor. I am only greeting him. He will bring the person I am capturing here soon. These two brothers aren't simple. Several of their opponents were not bad, but they were not able to withstand 3 moves. Furthermore, from the beginning to the end, they didn't use any technique. All of them were very simple punches and kicks. Gu Dongchen said, "What's strange is that the power they are using is not the kind of fierce physical body power, nor is it divine power with an attribute. What exactly is the power they are using?" Devil-killing Heavenly G.O.D. shook his head. "I can't tell either, but it might be because their father created some kind of powerful divine technique, or he obtained it from somewhere. After cultivating it, he would be able to obtain that kind of power." Chen Xiang used the Dao Heart Eye to look at the Zhou brothers. Surprisingly, he did not find any obvious energy flowing through their bodies. "You err, what do you think of those two brothers? Did you notice them on the side just now?" Chen Xiang sent a sound transmission to Yuer. Chen Xiang used the Dao Heart Eye to sweep across everyone present, and more or less, could see the obvious trajectory of the energy in these people's bodies. Chen Xiang felt that he should have already seen it. It was just that the power was transparent, so he could see the power of the semi-transparent state of the mist. Unknowingly, it was time for the break. The 2 matches would be held at the same time. Yuer replied, "I didn't discover anything. Unless they can use more of that power, their strength and aura aren't very obvious." Chen Xiang was sparring with his big brother Zhou Qiang. After walking onto the stage, he forcefully smiled and said, "Brother Shen, I've heard a lot about you. It's my honor to be able to fight with you today, even if I lose." "Brother Zhou, don't be so modest. To be able to reach this step, you must have extraordinary strength." Chen Xiang replied with a smile. "Begin." Chen Xiang knew that Zhou Qiang usually only defeated him in 3 moves, so he was extremely cautious from the start, and used a very conservative method, to let his opponent attack first. The strongest indeed was the first to attack. It looked like he had only taken a few light steps, but in Chen Xiang's eyes, his movement skills were extremely strange, and he was actually dazzled by it. "What is this movement technique?" Chen Xiang released the spatial perception domain, which accurately sensed the movements of everyone around him. However, at this moment, he felt that there were 7 to 8 Zhou Qiang on stage, having been here from all directions, but he could only see one Zhou Qiang. "There's one more up there." Chen Xiang was shocked. In that moment of danger, he found a gap and dodged all the attacks from Zhou Qiang. Chen Xiang was completely shocked in his heart. No matter if he was using his eyes or the divine soul floating in the air, all he saw was a single Zhou Qiang. However, 7 or 8 of them suddenly appeared just now. Chen Xiang dodged, but Mu Qianxiang, who was on the other stage, did not. With just 2 shouts, Mu Qianxiang was pushed off the stage. With a face of confusion, it was clear that she had met with the same situation as Chen Xiang. As expected of Chen Xiang, he actually dodged the first move. Those below who had fought with Zhou Qiang before cried out in alarm. They had all experienced that kind of extremely strange attack, and although they had clearly dodged it, they were still struck by this strange attack, which was followed by the second move, and were blasted off the stage. Mu Qianxiang had already finished her battle and was defeated by Zhou Xing in 2 moves, which made Mu Qianxiang extremely unwilling, but she could not say anything, because the other party had used her own strength to defeat him. Hearing the discussions of the others, She knew that the two brothers had grasped this strange offensive movement technique. Xiao Xiang, what happened just now? Ling Yulan asked anxiously. The three teachers, W. A. N. G. Genes, H.I. by Yu and by Ziqian, were extremely curious to know about Mu Qianxiang's strength. There were at least 4 guys attacking me from 4 directions just now, and they were very fast too. I only managed to dodge 2, and then I was hit. The next second move was the same as well. I didn't dodge them and was already hit. Mu Qianxiang frowned and looked at Chen Xiang's stage. You are truly worthy of being my brother, to actually be able to avoid such an attack unscathed. When Zhou Qiang saw that Chen Xiang was able to dodge his first move, his face revealed a look of shock. Brother Shen is truly amazing. He has fought with me before, and has never been able to avoid my first move, your first person. When Zhou Qiang saw that Chen Xiang was able to dodge his first move, his face revealed a look of shock. Brother Shen is truly amazing. He has fought with me before, and has never been able to avoid my first move, your first person. You're too kind, you're very powerful. This is the first time I've encountered such a technique. Chen Xiang laughed. He was also secretly curious what kind of technique Zhou Qiang was using. Not only was his movement skill so strange and powerful, the power he was using was also very mysterious. Look at this. Zhou Qiang laughed lightly, shouted, and rushed towards Chen Xiang once again. 16, double the number. Chen Xiang was shocked once again. 16 Zhou Qiang, who had the same strength, attacked from 16 different directions. It was difficult for him to find a blind spot to dodge. Chen Xiang looked at Zhou Qiang, who was ing over in front of him. He himself also flew over, raised his fist, and channeled meteor immortal power to attack him. He was very sure that his fist was on Zhou Qiang's face, because he could feel the warmth of his skin, but just as he was about to touch Zhou Qiang suddenly disappeared. He missed. He dodged it, but it was definitely impossible, because I already touched his face. There's no way he could have dodged it in that instant. What exactly is going on? When Chen Xiang threw out his punch, he had already activated his Heavenly Elephant constellation and used Cloud and Heavenly Elephant, causing his body to instantly become like a cloud. Just as he had guessed, the moment he punched, attack power from all directions hit his body, as though they were being attacked by dozens of Zhou Qiang's at the same time. However, those fists seemed to have been struck by clouds, and were unable to harm Chen Xiang's body. It was hard for Chen Xiang to understand why the Zhou Qiang he just attacked had disappeared, and was now right behind him. He noticed that there were no marks left on Zhou Qiang's face from the punch he received. Zhou Qiang attacked Chen Xiang the second time, but did not harm him either. He retreated to the side of the fighting stage and looked at Chen Xiang with furrowed brows, because he knew that he had met a strong opponent. Chen Xiang only had 4 divine deity, and 2 less than him. Just what is going on with this guy? His face was hit by my brother's fist, but he was able to quickly dodge and attack my brother from behind. Ling Yulan said as he frowned. Just now it was indeed very strange, and many people saw it clearly. It was like a blade suddenly chopping down on a demon beast. The speed of the chopping motion was very fast. The blade edge had already cut into the skin of the demon beast, but the demon beast suddenly dodged and rushed from the back, violently attacking. I see. Chen Xiang sent a sound transmission to Yue. Yue, if you knew how to grasp the laws of time and use some techniques, would you be able to do what you've just done? That's right. This fellow is using the law of time. Yue replied. This is an extremely rare law energy. Although it is everywhere, the people who grasp it are very few. In the past, when Chen Xiang used the God murdering sword techniques and the speed of his 7 devil-slaying kung fu to change, he also had this kind of state. It could create 2 different types of time in the same S.P. AC and then produce an effect, which would then cause the other person's movements to become very slow while himself became very fast. In this way, in the eyes of outsiders, an inconceivable speed would appear. Zhou Qiang, on the other hand, was even more proficient in using the power of time. He who was able to split a few periods of time and then use these few people to quickly attack, and the one who was injured, could immediately recover before being injured. Chen Xiang only had a very vague idea of how to use time to attack. He did not know the specifics, but the two brothers Zhou Qiang were not only able to control the power of the time laws, they also had some methods to use it, which was why it looked so strange. We've encountered a powerful opponent. Chen Xiang didn't know why, but he felt a kind of secret excitement in his heart. All he knew was that the Azure Dragon controlled the time laws, but because of so many reasons, he couldn't even meet with the Azure Dragon once, and could only ask him about the power of time. Now that he had encountered one and was even able to be his opponent, if he had fought a match, then he would definitely have a better understanding of the power of the time laws. Looks like there's only one way to defeat him. Chen Xiang took a small breath. Zhou Qiang also felt that he had met a strong opponent. This was the first time he had met someone who was not only unscathed after 2 moves, but also capable of injuring a time clone. It's the power of time. After that, he said what he had seen and said, which was more or less what Chen Xiang had thought just now. There were also disciples in the crowd who were experienced and knowledgeable, because Chen Xiang was the first person to probe out Zhou Qiang's strength. From the strange situation before, some people inferred that it was the power of the time laws. Many people did not understand, but those who understood found this difficult to decipher because the other side controlled time. If their bodies were to continuously return to a situation where they did not consume any energy nor were they injured, wouldn't that mean that they were invincible and would never waste energy? Previously, Chen Xiang had also used a similar method to treat his wounds, and it was indeed very useful, but his control over time was not strong enough, so he rarely tried it again. This place is indeed a crouching tiger, hidden dragon. I didn't expect it to be seen through so quickly. Zhou Qiang smiled slightly. Brother Shun, I hope that you do not disappoint me. Let me see how capable you are. All right. After Chen Xiang said this word, he immediately released an even stronger power of the spatial laws that formed ASP-AC domain. This allowed him to more clearly control his surroundings' movement. SP-AC domain, huh? Not bad, not bad. Zhou Qiang looked around. Although the SP-AC domain was invisible, he could feel it. Not long after Chen Xiang released the SP-AC domain, he felt that something was wrong, because his SP-AC domain did not seem to be here. This feeling was very strange, because even though he had released the SP-AC domain, his domain had not appeared, and it had not been broken. Time domain, make the time on the stage compare to before my SP-AC domain, this way my SP-AC domain will have no effect. Chen Xiang frowned. His power of the spatial laws was actually suppressed. That's right, your SP-AC domain is still here, but it's not on this stage. The stage that your SP-AC domain covered is still here, but you can't see because it's already been covered by the stage. Zhou Qiang laughed bitterly. Perhaps this is a little complicated, but to put it simply, the past, future, and now can all be folded together, and this stage is just like the past, while your SP-AC domain is covered with the present, which I have hidden. Ling Yulan scratched his head. It's so complicated. Yue said. It's more difficult to understand. The fighting stage that we are now seeing is a few hours away. At that time there are no SP-AC domain, and Chen Xiang is continuing to use the SP-AC domain on the stage. Then as long as Zhou Qiang can push the time forward, the SP-AC domain disappeared again. Mu Qianxiang said, Doesn't that mean they can easily make people older or younger? Mu Qianxiang said. Doesn't that mean they can easily make people older or younger? Zhou Xing, who was beside her, shook his head and laughed. Of course not. The only thing we can use the power of the time laws is our own body, or something that doesn't have any life in them, such as a stone or metal. Our control over the law of time is only on the skin of our hands. It was just that the situation was so dire that no one could think of a way to break it. Chen Xiang had already given up on using his spatial energy, because the other party could control time to control the changes in this S.P.A.C. It's the Heavenly Dragon Seal. Ling Yulan suddenly shouted. Although Chen Xiang had not used it for a long time, his speed was still much faster than before, and could almost release it in an instant. In the air above the fighting stage, hundreds of dragons roared ferociously like lightning, and hacked down continuously. Just as the first attack landed on Zhou Chang's head, it suddenly disappeared. What? Chen Xiang looked at the condensed qi vortex in the sky, and suddenly disappeared. I just sent it to another time slot, hee. Zhou Qiang laughed and then he disappeared. Once again, he controlled the time difference between him and others, allowing himself to achieve an extremely fast speed. At the same time, he appeared and attacked Chen Xiang from all directions. Chen Xiang's body turned into a scorching sun that was as hot as billowing magma. At the same time, he also poured all of the fire energy within the fourth divine deity out, forming an extremely scorching barrier that was connected to him. When Zhou Qiang attacked him from all directions, he struck the scorching sun heavenly elephant and the scorching S.H.I plus ELD of Qi and immediately retreated. He could not endure the scorching heat. What a powerful flame power! Zhou Qiang was unable to directly control the power that was tightly connected to Chen Xiang to undergo the change in time. The hand that he had struck Chen Xiang's abdomen earlier was already burnt red. However, he quickly recovered. Clearly, he had used a change in time at the place where he was scalded to produce a change in time. It was now the time when he was not injured. Chen Xiang suddenly realized that Zhou Chang's own strength was not very strong, if not he would not be scalded by his defense. What was more powerful about Zhou Qiang was that he was using time to increase his own speed while making other people's attacks useless, and was able to produce multiple time clones to attack him, but his true strength was not very strong. There's simply no solution. If this goes on, Chen Xiang will be exhausted sooner or later, and his attacks are getting stranger and stranger. He might even have some tricks up his sleeve. Zhu Rong said. Although I don't know what kind of attack time can make, I do know that it can dissolve a very strong power. This talent is too terrifying. Duan Sanchong said. Zhou Qiang also felt a headache because Chen Xiang was like a hedgehog right now. He had no way to start attacking him, and he knew his own weakness, which was that his attack power was too weak, causing him to be unable to break through Chen Xiang's defense. Chen Xiang had told Lu Menger and the others before that even if he did not have a profound Wu clothing, he would still be able to possess an extremely terrifying defense by relying on his celestial phenomenon art. When Zhou Qiang attacked again, Chen Xiang still did not move, but used defense instead. When Zhou Chang's fist struck his body did not become as hot as the blazing sun, instead, it produced icy cold power. What shocked Zhou Qiang the most was that his fist actually stuck tightly onto Chen Xiang's body, because he had already been frozen by an extremely strong chill, causing him to be unable to pull his fist back from Chen Xiang's chest. The frightening thing was that the extremely strong suction force produced by Chen Xiang's body made it even harder for him to struggle free. Chen Xiang smiled slightly. The meteor immortal power that he had been preparing for a long time started to surge violently in his left arm. His fist was like a burning iron fist, fiercely SMAs. HI plus ing towards Zhou Chang's face. Boom! Chen Xiang's divine fist, which was produced by the meteor immortal power, struck Zhou Chang's face, causing brilliant sparks to fly. Zhou Qiang also cried out in pain, the bones on his face had also cracked, and Chen Xiang's fist was truly very berserk. When Zhu Rong saw this, his heart couldn't help but tremble. Boom! Chen Xiang quickly punched again. Sparks once again flew from Zhou Qiang's swollen face, and half of his face was a tragic sight to behold. However, his fist was still glued to Chen Xiang's body, unable to be pulled out. At the same time period, it is impossible for several of you to appear, and since you are in contact with other life forms, your time clone cannot be replaced with you. As Chen Xiang said this, he threw out his third punch, using the meteor immortal power to carry out 3 consecutive punches that caused Zhou Qiang to feel dizzy. Ah! Suddenly, Zhou Qiang screamed in pain, blood spurted out from his arm. He had actually broken off one of his own arms, that way he could separate himself from Chen Xiang. If not, he would have been punched a few more times, he would have been defeated. After Zhou Qiang left Chen Xiang, he immediately controlled the time, so that his face back to before he was beaten up and his arm back to that time as well, so he was fine again. However, that pain was already deeply imprinted in his memories, making him feel fear just thinking about it. Chen Xiang looked at the broken arm on his chest. It had actually disappeared, probably destroyed by Zhou Qiang using the power of the time laws. There's no need at all, Yun Xiaodao said. Seeing that he has the upper hand, Zhou Qiang was even punched a few times, but in the blink of an eye, he has turned back into a normal person. Zhou Xing said, Chen Xiang is too terrifying, we have never met such an opponent. If my big brother wants to win, it won't be easy, and we do not know how long this battle will last. Mu Qianxiang scoffed, you two brothers are clearly relying on your talent to bully others, but then again, if you guys were to fight with H.E.L. Devil Emperor and the rest, don't lose. If Zhou Qiang lost to Chen Xiang, then victory would be determined with Mu Qianxiang. Mu Qianxiang felt that he would not be able to win against Zhou Qiang, this abnormal guy. Chen Xiang, your strength is truly frightening. I can't compare to you in this aspect, but I must beat you, Zhou Qiang said firmly. If you continue to raise your strength and break through my defenses, not being affected by the spiritual power of the attributes, you will become even more powerful. Chen Xiang laughed. I will definitely win this battle. Thank you for your advice. Once Zhou Qiang finished speaking, he rushed towards Chen Xiang once again. This time, his speed was even faster, and he even used the profound mysteries of time, making the time on the stage continuously change. This way, the sensing power Chen Xiang released would be affected, and it would be difficult to determine his direction. The only problem he had was trying to break Chen Xiang's terrifying defense, but he had already found a way. Multiple time overlaps. Chen Xiang had already sensed it. This was equivalent to multiple powers combining together. He estimated that it would probably be around the 16th stage, and this kind of power would be extremely terrifying. This time, Zhou Qiang was also betting everything on one throw, because he knew that delaying would be disadvantageous for him, and Chen Xiang would discover his weakness. This time, Zhou Qiang was also betting everything on one throw, because he knew that delaying would be disadvantageous for him, and Chen Xiang would discover his weakness. Because it was multiple powers, when they overlapped each other, it would produce a very strong energy fluctuation. Chen Xiang could clearly feel that if this energy were to hit his body, he would probably be severely injured, so suddenly, a yin-yang array appeared beneath his feet. Zhou Qiang's time clones that were hiding in the surroundings suddenly slowed down a little when they rushed towards Chen Xiang. What's going on? Zhou Qiang was shocked. He never thought that the time clones he controlled would suddenly be slowed down by Chen Xiang by a little, causing them to be unable to merge together. This was something he did not expect. He thought that it would be like what happened just now. Chen Xiang had once again released cold energy to bind his arm. He had already prepared for the possibility of losing an arm, but Chen Xiang had disappeared, leaving him panicking in his heart. When Chen Xiang, who had disappeared once again, appeared, Zhou Qiang felt a powerful force colliding into his back, causing his entire body to feel intense pain, especially the divine sense C, which trembled violently. Chen Xiang then used the divine sense C to attack him. Not good. Zhou Qiang quickly adjusted his condition to remove the pain from his body, but he discovered that he had fallen out of the fighting arena. This was something he had learned from the G.O.D. murdering sword techniques and the 7 devil-slaying kung fu. Only then would he be able to defeat Zhou Qiang. The power of the time laws Zhou Qiang had used was transformed from the power of the divine sense C, and as long as his divine sense C was unable to circulate his energy for a short period of time, he would be unable to use the power of time. Zhou Qiang looked at Chen Xiang, who was on the stage, and was left speechless. He had thought that he would be able to defeat Chen Xiang, but he did not expect to be defeated so quickly by Chen Xiang. He was very clear on what had happened in that instant. Zhou Qiang actually lost, but looking at him, he should still be able to continue fighting. It's just that the rule is that he will be able to continue fighting if he falls, but if he continues, it'll be hard to say who will win in the end. Chen Xiang is also very strong. Zhou Qiang hasn't defeated him for so long, on the contrary, he himself has been defeated. Right now we have already determined 2 spots, namely Zhou Xing and Chen Xiang. Next, Zhou Qiang will decide on a 3rd spot with Mu Qianxiang. It must be Zhou Chang's. Mu Qianxiang lost to Zhou Xing in the last 2 moves, and even little brother couldn't beat him, so big brother's loss must be faster. Although Zhou Qiang had lost, he had lost wholeheartedly and wholeheartedly. He knew that Chen Xiang had also concealed a very powerful strength, and the power that had disturbed his multiple clones just now was inconceivable to him. Even though I lost to Brother Shen, I will definitely be able to fight with Chen Xiang against H.E.L. Devil Emperor and the rest in the end. Zhou Qiang chuckled, because he felt that he would have no suspense if he were to fight Mu Qianxiang right now. Bro, I give up. I'm not as good as you are, Mu Qianxiang said with a bitter face. Her power was not weak, she had only met people who knew how to use their strange time and energy. Zhou Qiang laughed out loud. If that's the case, then that's for the best. Of course, I feel that Miss Mu should also go all out. Chen Xiang smiled faintly and said to Mu Qianxiang, Qianxiang, I'll teach you a move, maybe you really will defeat him. But first, I have to ask you, did you see through his weakness just now? This caused Zhou Qiang and Zhou Xing to be slightly shocked. They themselves could not think of anyone else other than Chen Xiang, who could defeat them. Mu Qianxiang had already fought with Zhou Xing, and was defeated in 2 moves. Their mysterious power is not very strong. Perhaps it's because they are controlling the laws of time, so the strength of the mysterious power is not high. Just now, he was unable to break through your defense, and you can see it. Mu Qianxiang said. Basically, everyone present could see that. Not bad, is there anything else? Chen Xiang asked again. Everyone kept up their ears. They wanted to hear if Zhou Qiang had any other weaknesses, and that way, if they fought with these 2 brothers again in the future, they might be able to win. Mu Qianxiang frowned, thought for a while, and then shook his head. No, I can't see any other weaknesses. Zhou Qiang frowned and said, Chen Xiang, if you discover any other weaknesses, please tell me, you can say them out in front of the crowd. I am not afraid of everyone knowing, I am afraid that I do not know, this way I can make up for it in the future. One more thing. When you use the power of time, as long as you are slightly affected by the time interference from the outside world, you will be in serious trouble. Chen Xiang said, initially, you had planned to use the combined power of 16 avatars of time to attack me, but after being disturbed by me, the fusion had failed, and it had even consumed a lot of your energy. Zhou Qiang nodded his head. That's right, but not everyone can interfere with my time. I'm still very curious about how Chen Xiang did it, so logically speaking, You should need to use your time and energy to do it. The infinite refining that Chen Xiang used was able to absorb various types of energy to refine it. After releasing the infinite refining, he circulated it to the limit and absorbed a little of the time power that Zhou Qiang released, but this actually caused a great deal of disturbance to Zhou Qiang. Mu Qianxiang pouted and said, "Brother, then tell me how to disturb his time. I can't even do it if you tell me." Chen Xiang pinched her face and laughed. "He still has another fatal weakness, I will quietly tell you." Zhou Chang's and Zhou Xing's expression changed. They completely believed what Chen Xiang had said. The fatal weakness that Chen Xiang had mentioned was definitely fatal. "Brother Shin, can you tell me more about it?" Zhou Qiang asked quickly. "You'll know after the match between Qianxiang and yourself. Whether you win or lose, you'll know." Chen Xiang smiled slightly. "Originally, I planned to use it a moment ago, but I somewhat have a bit of selfishness in mind. I want Qianxiang to win against you." Chen Xiang's recognized sister is indeed very strong. "If I do not use my time and energy, I'm afraid I won't be able to take 10 of her attacks." Zhou Chang's face was now very serious. It seemed that he would have to use all his strength in the next round. After resting, Mu Qianxiang and Zhou Qiang walked up the stage. Everyone was looking forward to the battle, because they had already known that Chen Xiang would teach Mu Qianxiang and let him defeat Zhou Qiang. Just now, Shen S. HI Plus had told Mu Qianxiang sound transmission and told him the way to defeat Zhou Qiang. From the start, Mu Qianxiang had brandished both of his hands, releasing hundreds of small swords that flew in all directions. All of these small swords were condensed from the mysterious power. Their power was extremely terrifying, able to easily penetrate skin of beasts, and even exploded when they entered. From the start, Mu Qianxiang had brandished both of his hands, releasing hundreds of small swords that flew in all directions. All of these small swords were condensed from the mysterious power. Their power was extremely terrifying, able to easily penetrate skin of beasts, and even exploded when they entered. Zhou Qiang had also used a skillful time clone to attack Mu Qianxiang from multiple directions from the very beginning, but because Mu Qianxiang had continuously released those small flying swords, his time clone had been obstructed. "You're too slow." Mu Qianxiang could feel the energy that was approaching him from other times, so the moment it got close to her, she immediately dodged. The reason why Zhou Qiang was slow was also because of the small flying swords, because he wanted to use the time energy to make those flying swords disappear. Zhou Chang's first attack did not hit Mu Qianxiang, but his second attack immediately started as well. After Mu Qianxiang dodged the attack, he immediately used the mysterious power to condense a chain to bind Zhou Qiang. "It's useless." As soon as Zhou Qiang finished speaking, he changed the time, and the chain in Mu Qianxiang's hand suddenly disappeared, because the entire SPAC was controlled by Zhou Qiang. He only needed to return the time before the chains condensed, and the chain would disappear. Sure enough, when Mu Qianxiang saw that Zhou Qiang had attacked again, she locked onto Zhou Chang's original body and once again swung out a chain towards him. Zhou Qiang did not expect that after Mu Qianxiang had failed just now, he would still return. When he felt the chains flying towards him, he immediately brought the time of this SPAC back to how it was before. At this time, he also released multiple time clones, all of which attacked Mu Qianxiang from different directions. However, this time he couldn't turn Mu Qianxiang's chain into nothingness. "Haha, I'm trapped." She then quickly ran around Zhou Qiang, and in the blink of an eye, she had already tied Zhou Qiang up into a dumpling. "What's going on?" Zhou Qiang was tied up by the chains and was unable to move. He frantically circulated the power of time, wanting to make the Ned chains on his body disappear, but to no avail. He was sure that the time in this SPAC before the chains came out was when the chains would no longer exist. But he did not. Zhou Qiang had already failed twice, and this caused him to be greatly shocked. As expected, Chen Xiang discovered a fatal weakness in his body. Mu Qianxiang immediately rushed up, channeled his mysterious power, and struck the chain with his palm, releasing a strong impact that sent Zhou Qiang flying out. Zhou Qiang lost even faster this time, and was even defeated by Mu Qianxiang. Zhou Xing, who was watching from below the stage, was stunned. Mu Qianxiang, who had just been defeated by him in 2 moves, had now also defeated his brother in a very short amount of time. I won. Mu Qianxiang was extremely excited. Gu Dongchen frowned. What did this girl do? Logically speaking, Zhou Qiang should have destroyed her chain, but he did not succeed. The devil-killing heavenly God also found it hard to understand. Zhou Qiang failed both times when he tried, and it was clear that he was unable to control the time change on the chain. What the hell is going on? Even though Zhou Qiang lost, what he cared the most about was how Mu Qianxiang actually did it, because this was a fatal weakness. Zhou Xing also wanted to know. Brother Shun, please tell us that if you are able to discover our fatal weakness, you will be our great benefactor. Zhou Qiang said, Our father told us before that we have a great weakness, but he was unwilling to tell us. He wanted us to understand it for ourselves. Chen Xiang said as he laughed, Your father should have told you guys this earlier, because that way, you wouldn't have to rely too much on the power of time. Just now, the chains Qianxiang released were not very strong, so it isn't difficult for a person with 6 divine deity to break free from them. Secondly, you said before, your time laws are unable to control life forms other than yourself. Just now, Qianxiang's chain was wrapped with multiple strands of her hair. Even though those hairs had already left her body, they are still flesh and blood to you. Your time energy cannot affect the change of her hair, so you did not succeed. Chen Xiang said, Of course, if it's at the extreme, I can directly use the power of blood to defeat you. How did you think of using your hair? Zhou Qiang took a deep breath. As long as his power merged with his life form, then the power of time would not be able to change it. Qin Xiang laughed. Because of the power of your time, the compet. 1. Tian's stage has returned a few times, and even some of the sand on the stage has disappeared, but your hair is not there, it is still there. The 3 spots, Chen Xiang, Mu Qianxiang and Zhou Xing, had already been determined. Zhou Xing, the Devil Arts L Devil Emperor and the rest are using are not simple, so in these 20 days, you have to think of a way to make your mysterious power go berserk, otherwise you will be in danger. Although the 2 brothers were controlling the power of time, their own strength was very weak, and could not form any offensive power. On the other hand, those who walked the path of the evil demon had very strong physical bodies. Thank you very much. Zhou Qiang and Zhou Xing hurriedly thanked him. Now they knew that during the compet. 1. Tie-in with the L Devil Emperor, they could be on guard. After all, when the time came for the compet. 1. Tie-in, they would not be as simple as stepping down from the stage. Originally, they were only here to train Zhou Xing, but because they were brothers, and because they were also very good seedlings, they started to train together. Mu Qianxiang, on the other hand, was handed over to LV Qilian and the others. As for Chen Xiang, no one could give him any pointers. 20 days is simply too little. Chen Xiang felt that he did not have enough time. He faintly felt that the resources sent by the L Devil Emperor would be very strong, and might even be from those divine nations. We can't let them win. Chen Xiang returned to the Hundreds of Flowers village with Mu Qianxiang and the others. Mu Qianxiang went to look for LV Qilian and the others. Xue Xianxian and the others were busy repairing the profound Wu clothing for Chen Xiang. When they saw Chen Xiang return, they knew that the compet. 1. Tie-in had already concluded. I thought you were the first one to come here, Yulan. I didn't expect that it would be you, little scoundrel. Did you lose and come here to complain? Xue Xianxian chuckled. She was currently smelting something in the hall using a small stove. She lost to me, but she lost very willingly, and now she is going to cultivate together with the beautiful immortal Qianxiang and the others. Qin Xiang laughed. Qianxiang has obtained one of the spots. The girls were all here, each of them with their own things to do. Some of them were smelting, some were analyzing blueprints, and some were drawing spirit grain. Qin Xiang told them what happened during the compet. One Tian. By the time he finished, it was already night. Elder Sister Menger, I remember that you guys used to have a time formation. You can get more time by going in. There are only 20 days left. I hope that you guys can have more time to help me improve. Said. Back then, Leng Yulan and Shui Xianxian would often enter that place to cultivate. Dongfang Xinyue put down the work at hand and walked over to Qin Xiang's side. He picked up the drink Qin Xiang had made and drank a little, then said, "Aren't you very strong now?" Dongfang Xinyue put down the work at hand and walked over to Qin Xiang's side. He picked up the drink Qin Xiang had made and drank a little, then said, "Aren't you very strong now?" But the ones sent out by the Devil Emperor might be from there. Qin Xiang said, "If it's really divine nations with our little strength, we will definitely lose." Lu Menger said, "There are of course array formations that can reverse time, but the current 9 heaven worlds SPAC is different from before. In the past, when 9 heaven world was still very weak, the time formation he used was a very high level one, so it could easily reverse time. But now it's different. Time and SPAC were intertwined to a certain extent, and Qin Xiang was fairly clear about this. How much energy will I need to gain more time? Qin Xiang asked. Is this dragon vein not enough? The formation has been in operation for 20 days, which will allow you to obtain at least 200 days. However, the consumption of energy from the dragon fountain is very great. If you want to obtain 20 years, I reckon 10 days will be enough time for the dragon fountain to enter a very weak state. Shui Xianxian said as he took out an array disc, and saw that it was square. Lu Menger, Dongfang Jing and Dongfang Xinyue also took out a square formation plate. This was originally created by us, and can be overlapped 4 times. If we use one alone, it will be a month. If we keep one in, it will be a month. If we add one in, it will be a year. Shui Xianxian gave the square formation plate to Qin Xiang. Lu Menger and the others handed it over as well. Qin Xiang hurriedly took the 4 array discs and said, "If I were to stack them all together and use them, then 200 years of time would have only said 20 years for me inside." Yes, but you need to find a place with sufficient energy to use it. We refined this array disk based on the records of the Heavenly Divine Lord's 9 heavens treasured artifact, and it can absorb energy to maintain the array formation. Lu Menger said, "I can't use it on the dragon's vein. It will drain the energy in the dragon's vein." Qin Xiang thought for a while, then said, "Seems like we can only go to the old place." "Oh right, how many people can enter at once?" "It's best if it's just one. With one more living being inside, the amount of energy required will increase by several times." Lu Menger sighed lightly. If it was in that kind of lower-level world in the past, then time formation would be everywhere and the amount of energy needed would not be much. At that time, many powers would use the time formation to grow medicinal herbs. It was indeed different now. SPAC was strong on one side, but changing time was also very difficult. It required a very large amount of energy to do so. "What's the old place you were talking about? Is it dangerous?" Shui Xianxian asked. "The Earth's core, that place isn't dangerous for me." Qin Xiang laughed. "Don't worry, it's very safe there." Dongfang Jing said, "Brother, now that the 9 heaven world is growing stronger, the core of the earth is becoming stronger and stronger. It's not like in the past, you have to be careful." "Got it." Qin Xiang caressed it and said, "I will go look for Yu Jie and get some divine medicine from her." There's a pill furnace here, you can keep it for now. Dongfang Xinue Pas, said a very small pill furnace to Chen Xiang. After recognizing the master, you can enlarge it. Chen Xiang accepted the pill furnace, and after bidding farewell to the girls, he went to find Feng Yujie. Feng Yujie was not concocting pills at the moment, but he had found LV Qinlian in the Hundreds of Flowers village and asked her to send a message to him on an urgent matter. Feng Yujie hurried back after learning that Chen Xiang had important matters to discuss with her. I was planning to go to Heavenly Divine Palace to have a look. There's something important I need to do. When Feng Yujie saw Chen Xiang's smiling face, she scoffed. I really have something urgent to do. Give me some bone-level Dan's medicinal herbs, I want 100 sets like this. Chen Xiang said he wanted to stay in the time formation for a while. At that time he would try to condense bones. I have it here. It was originally meant for Great Divine Lord and the rest to refine, but if you need it, I'll give it to you. Feng Yujie Pas, said Chen Xiang, a storage bag. What are you planning to do with it? I need to go into closed-door training for a period of time. At that time, I plan to try condensing another bones. Chen Xiang said, Of course, what I need more is a pill that can condense divine deity after consuming it. If you don't have this kind of pill formula, you can think of creating one. At that time, it will definitely be very easy to sell. Feng Yujie laughed. If that was the case, I wouldn't have to work so hard to condense my divine deity throughout the day. Chen Xiang laughed heartily. There will be one sooner or later. He took the opportunity when Feng Yujie wasn't paying attention to kiss her on the lips, then flew out of the room. I wonder if the Yuming Deep Abyss is still here. When Chen Xiang arrived at the city lord's mansion, Wu Keiming was also there. He asked Wu Keiming to show him how to get to the Yuming Deep Abyss. Wu Keiming took out a guide for him. Inside it were many cities and dangerous places. That Yuming Deep Abyss is very scary now. That place is very dangerous, you have to be careful, Wu Keiming said. Chen Xiang nodded and then was teleported to the city closest to Yuming Deep Abyss. After walking out of the city, he used the SPAC wind and quickly arrived beside the Yuming Deep Abyss. It has indeed become very frightening. Chen Xiang never thought that the Yuming Deep Abyss would actually turn into a steaming abyss, and that he could even see the scene below it. The same place. I'm here. Chen Xiang jumped down and immediately felt the scorching heat coming from below. When he reached the bottom, he was already somewhat unable to endure it, so he had no choice but to use the ice and snow constellation to resist the heat. Arriving at the bottom, he found it strange that the stones below had evolved to withstand such a high temperature. The core's heat has been leaked. It must have come from that tunnel. When Chen Xiang took out the fire dragon sword, all the heat in the place disappeared, causing him to be secretly pleasantly surprised. Although the fire dragon sword was not at the divine artifact level, it had this kind of ability, allowing him to walk around in the earth's core with ease. This is the Pas Sage. Chen Xiang saw that the hole on the green dragon demon-slain broadsword had been destroyed, and it could no longer be opened. But that was fine, because he could use spatial travel to go through the door. He teleported to the Pas Sage. The Pas Sage was covered in a fiery red mist and was filled with a strange fire energy. It was so dense that tiny particles could be formed and floated inside the Pas Sage, causing the Pas Sage to be covered in red. In a place like the core, there's no doubt that it can give birth to living creatures, or even powerful beasts. He had been to the Earth's core a few times, so he was well aware of how terrifying the energy of the Earth's core was. This was the energy source that maintained the flow of the entire nine-heaven world. Immediately thought of the super-old fire beast. He looked at the Pas Sageway and immediately felt more at ease. The Pas Sageway was very narrow. Immediately thought of the super-old fire beast. He looked at the Pas Sageway and immediately felt more at ease. The Pas Sageway was very narrow. Although the nine heaven world has devoured the Gods realm and the endless heaven realm, the core of the earth still hasn't grown much in size. However, its energy has become even stronger. Chen Xiang walked forward with the fire dragon sword in his hand. Under the protection of the fire dragon sword, he did not sense any heat, but he knew clearly that if he did not have the fire dragon sword, he would not be able to continue right now. We can't continue any further. This place is already the limit. Chen Xiang looked at the red light tunnel in front of him. However, under the protection of the mystical energy emitted by the fire dragon sword, he could still feel the scorching heat. Chen Xiang took out his green dragon blade and fiercely stabbed it into the cave wall, creating a series of dang 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 sounds. However, the cave wall only had a few scratches on it, that was all. What's going on? Just now, Chen Xiang had used his left hand to swing the sword. With the double bone level in his left hand, he had used quite a bit of strength to slash at the stone wall, but was unable to harm it. Chen Xiang looked at the red granules that were floating in the cave and suddenly understood that the stone walls here had been absorbing so much powerful energy from this environment for many years. Furthermore, after being tempered by the powerful air pressure for a long time, it had become extremely stu or dysprosium. It seems like the Earth's core is extremely hard and indestructible. Chen Xiang withdrew his azure dragon blade and activated the six realms' power. The veins on his left arm bulged, and with a loud shout, he punched the stone wall with his powerful fist. The explosion of the meteor immortal power produced a loud explosion that reverberated through the Pa-S sageway. The entire Pa-S sageway trembled slightly earlier, but other than that, there was no other reaction. As expected, it is very stu-rdy. Chen Xiang took a deep breath. The reason he conducted this test was so that he would be able to enter the time formation and feel a bit more at ease, because he couldn't be disturbed like this. The energy here should be enough to operate all four formation discs. Because the Pa-S sageway was too small, Chen Xiang allowed these four formation discs to grow larger, so they couldn't grow much larger and could only sit on top of the formation discs by themselves. We can start now, Chen Xiang said somewhat excitedly. If he could succeed, he could fight for 20 years. He activated the formation plate, and waves of white light flashed out. The red mist in the tunnel was quickly absorbed by the formation plate as it rushed towards the bottom of the formation plate. Not long after, a ball of white light was suspended above the array disc. Chen Xiang felt that it was a bit uncomfortable because the array disc was too small, but he had no choice but to step on it. When he stepped onto it, a light flashed in front of his eyes. He actually came to SPAC surrounded by white light. This SPAC was about the size of a room. Xian and the others are pretty strong, huh? There's actually a spatial formation inside these array discs? Chen Xiang looked at the door of light that flashed on the white wall. That was the door to the time formation. He took out a pill furnace and then the bone-level Dan's ingredient. He planned to first try and see if he could condense bones to use on his left arm, and the double bone level that was condensed there would allow him to experience the benefits of bones. If other parts of his body also had bones, then it would make him even stronger. I'm just going to cultivate all 9 of my bones to the supreme G-O-D level right now. Chen Xiang was a little excited just thinking about it. His bones would become stronger as his divine deity increased, and then fuse with the powerful energy. It was even more difficult to imagine. In just half a day's time, Chen Xiang had already refined 18 bone-level Danes, which were not difficult to refine. Previously, during the compet 1 Tian, he had used a very short period of time to refine 1 batch of bone-level Danes, and it was even sick. Currently, he was only refining 3 batches of bone-level Dan. After consuming it, he dispersed the medicinal energy within his body and began to control the medicinal energy to circulate through his entire body. He then waited for the opportunity to condense the pill to appear. It didn't succeed and the medicine scattered very quickly. What's going on? Chen Xiang had previously eaten twice before, and every time, he had to refine it for half a day before using up all the medicinal power. But now, he had only used an hour. Remember Yulan and the others mentioned that they took 3 days to refine the bone-level Dan? Could the stronger their body be, the shorter the refining time? Chen Xiang surmised that he was not very sure if he had eaten yet another pellet. This time, he only used half of the last time to refine it faster than last time. What's going on? When Chen Xiang refined the medicinal power, he did not sense any signs in his body, which meant that he had failed to condense the bones. He could only continue eating. The speed at which he refined the 18 pills was very fast. He could refine 4 of them in 2 hours. Right now, it was not even half a day and he had already refined 18 bone-level Dan. It was completely useless. Looks like being unable to sustain the medicinal power for too long is not a good thing. It's not possible for it to exist in his body for too long as well. Chen Xiang recalled how he had previously consumed 2 bone-level Dan pellets. Is the bone-level Dan not strong enough? Or is my body not strong enough? Chen Xiang did not know because even he did not know whether Yang Tianyi had relied on eating a lot of medicinal ingredients to condense it. As Chen Xiang thought about this question, he suddenly felt that the SPAC was gradually weakening and the white light surrounding it disappeared. Right now, he was sitting cross-legged on top of the 4 overlapping formation discs. Chen Xiang looked at the 2 sides of the PAS sageway. Originally, there were many red particles floating around, but now all of them had disappeared. I just stayed inside for a day, that's all. Chen Xiang anxiously jumped down from the array disc. This time formation really consumes a lot of energy and absorbed all of the energy outside in one go. Chen Xiang looked at the depths of the tunnel. This formation plate needs to be near the energy source to absorb it, right? It seems like there's still some distance between here and the center of the Earth that the formation plate cannot absorb and absorb. Bring Yuer here right now. This time, I need to get very close to the core of the Earth. Chen Xiang decided to let Yuer enter the time formation with him. After all, Yuer had a lot of experience and she was an existence equivalent to An. Blee. So she must have eaten high-ranking bone-level dans and condensed their bones before. Chen Xiang returned from the core to the surface and returned to the Hundreds of Flowers village. He brought Yuer here with him and did not need much time. Right now, he was in a rush because he could not afford to waste any time, especially outside. He did not need to be so nervous inside the time formation. Chen Xiang returned from the core to the surface and returned to the Hundreds of Flowers village. He brought Yuer here with him and did not need much time. Right now, he was in a rush because he could not afford to waste any time, especially outside. He did not need to be so nervous inside the time formation. Yuer followed Chen Xiang into the tunnel. Chen Xiang asked, Yuer, are you afraid of the heat? You're not afraid that my spatial barrier is relatively strong. The heat from the Earth's core should be able to resist the heat. If you use spatial barrier, wouldn't that be fine? Moonchild said. Chen Xiang shook his head. My spatial protection is also very limited. Yuer smiled tenderly. Then I'll cover you, but don't you fear going to the Earth's core like that? Although currently the 9 heaven worlds' core hasn't reached its complete state, it won't be weak either. It's probably because of the cultivation of the earthly beast at this time. Earthly beast? Chen Xiang asked in surprise. Is it really that powerful? I'm not sure about the 9 heaven worlds' earthly beast either. When 9 divine kings created this world, he had probably already set this up. It's hard to say whether it was aggressive or not. Let's go check it out first. With our escaping abilities, there's nothing to be afraid of. Yuer didn't seem to be afraid at all as she flapped her wings and flew slowly through the tunnel. La 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 la. Yue hummed a cheerful melody, as if she was taking a leisurely stroll. Yue, does your star law divine realm also have a core? Chen Xiang asked her earlier. Our star law divine realm is a planet with a core, but only the largest primary planet has earthly beasts. I went there twice with my grandfather the first time, but when I went there, I couldn't take the heat any longer. After I got back, I rested for a month, Yue said. The second time was when I went to the central core of the core during the law enforcement assessment. It was very relaxing for me, but I didn't dare to go there. Although he had been here a few times, every time he had come, it would increase to a different degree. And this time, the increase in power was the greatest. Not long after, Chen Xiang saw those fiery red granules slowly floating over from the tunnel in front. There were such granules everywhere, but they were all absorbed by the 4 formation plates. Coming! Yue immediately flew onto Chen Xiang's shoulder and released a spatial barrier. Chen Xiang only felt a slight heat from it for a moment, and then, he did not sense it again. At this moment, he was already in the middle of the fiery red grain, and the tunnel was once again filled with the fiery red glow of light. In this kind of place, neither Chen Xiang nor Yue dared to use the S.P.A.C. wind because there was an unknown danger in front of them. Chen Xiang was in a hurry, so he quickened his pace and rushed through the tunnel. The tunnel continued downwards diagonally. Gradually, they entered the depth. After running madly for 4 hours, he finally arrived at the end of the tunnel. He stood at the end and looked down at the fiery red light. That was the depths of the Earth's core. Now, he could absorb the energy from the Earth's core from the formation plate inside the small hole. Chen Xiang took out the formation plate and successfully activated it. He brought Yue and entered the formation plate. The energy absorbed by this array disk will be several times more than what a living creature absorbs. Yue seemed to be able to sense the energy being absorbed by the array disk. If another person were to enter, I'm afraid that would exceed the limits of the array disk. Chen Xiang said, Yue, previously, when you condensed your bones, did you only rely on eating bone-level Dan? Yue nodded her head and replied, Of course, even if you don't eat bone-level Dan, you can still condense them. But that doesn't mean anyone can do it. Only those with extremely high innate talent can do it. Chen Xiang asked again, Do you remember how long it took you to refine the bone-level Dan you ate when you condensed the bones? Roughly half a day's time. Whether the bone-level Dan is refined too fast or too slow, it will take around half a day to finish. Yue said, This refinement refers to the situation where my fastest refining speed is the slowest in an instant under the condition of natural refining. It took me a month's time, but even this cannot trigger the opportunity to condense a bone-level Dan. Yue's words confirmed Chen Xiang's previous guess. He asked, Then how do we complete the natural refining state for around half a day? This is the reason why it is difficult to condense bones after eating bone-level Dan. The reason why refining pills is so fast is usually because the body and cultivation level are too strong and need to improve the quality of the bone-level Dan. As for the balance being too slow, it's because the body is not strong enough, so it will take a very long time to absorb all the medicinal energy in one go. So that's how it is. I understand now. Chen Xiang immediately took out a portion of bone-level Dan's medicinal ingredient. These are all low-grade medicinal ingredients. How long are you going to take one now? Yue asked. He can refine 4 pellets in 2 hours, Chen Xiang said. He already had a way to solve the problem. Right now, you need a medial-grade bone-level Dan, and at the same time, you also need to strengthen your body to be able to control it for around half a day. Yue curiously asked Chen Xiang when she saw him throw the medicinal herbs into the pill furnace. Chen Xiang, do you have some kind of strange idea now? Yue had already seen Chen Xiang's refining skills before, and even though she was experienced and knowledgeable, she was still shocked by Chen Xiang several times. This is a method of refining heavenly alchemy. My furnace's limit is to refine 6 bone-level Dan, but I have to compress it into 3, so I can condense the excess medicinal power into 1. This can improve the quality of bone-level Dan, Chen Xiang said. In his current situation, it would take some time to produce a middle-tier bone-level Dan medicine. First, he would have to condense the elixir and increase the age of the herbs bit by bit. Right now, he did not have that much time, so he could only use the compressed medicinal energy to improve his quality. This was one of the methods in the heavenly alchemy. He had previously used this method to force out high-quality pills. I hope it's effective. If it doesn't work, you should just be more honest and use a normal method. Yue patiently watched the pill furnace as she laid on the ground. A normal method is not suitable for me. Chen Xiang laughed and began to refine the pill. Chen Xiang was refining the bone-level Dan now. Unlike before, he needed to suppress it in order to enhance the quality of the bone-level Dan, which was why he had taken a bit more time than before. Chen Xiang was refining the bone-level Dan now. Unlike before, he needed to suppress it in order to enhance the quality of the bone-level Dan, which was why he had taken a bit more time than before. Yue had never heard of such a method of refinement, especially for the sake of increasing the quality, but now that Chen Xiang had concocted so few of them, she had no idea that it was possible for her to use such a method to refine bone-level Dan. Done. Chen Xiang took out 3 milky white bone-level Dan pearls and leaned over to open her pair of cute cat eyes. It looks like the quality is quite high. It's really amazing. If you press it into a single grain, the quality will be even higher. Moonchild said in surprise. Let me give it a try first. Chen Xiang ate 1 pellet and started refining it. After 4 hours, he finished refining it. It looks like I still need to be refined a bit more. Chen Xiang put away the 2 bone-level Dan-s in his hands, took out a portion of medicinal ingredients and said, I will directly press them into a single pellet. Right now, Chen Xiang did not have a method to quickly condense divine deity, but there was a direction for him to quickly condense bones. Of course, he felt that 4 bones was not enough for him right now. He had no other choice, so he planned to first condense bones so that he could at least increase his strength and at the same time strengthen his physical body. If he still had time, he would do his best to condense divine deity to 6 bones. Chen Xiang quickly finished refining the pill. This time, he had crushed the 6 bone-level Dan into a single pellet, which was already of extremely high quality among the shopping Dan. That was why when he opened the pellet furnace, it immediately burst out a bright light. This time, it should be enough, right? After taking it out, Chen Xiang showed Yue the highest quality shopping bone-level Dan. Very good. If the Star Law Divine Realm can sell it, then this bone-level Dan should be able to sell it at a very high quality because it is very easy to reach a balance. If it is directly sold as a middle-quality bone-level Dan, then it will take a lot of time and effort to refine the body and the spirit of the bone-level Dan. Yue felt that it was very rare for Chen Xiang to be able to control the quality of a high-quality divine pellet. After Chen Xiang consumed it, he began to refine it. After Chen Xiang refined the medicinal force, he opened his eyes. This pellet did not allow him to condense bones, but only by controlling the time that he had to refine the bone-level Dan would he have more opportunities to condense bones. Yue laughed. An alchemist like you are really frightening. You can really adjust the quality of medicinal pills according to your own circumstances. There are also alchemists in Star Law Divine Realm who do this, but it's not very successful. If you're lucky, about 10 of them should be able to condense bones, Yue said. However, after you condense bones this time, the next time won't be so easy. You'll need to adjust the quality of the bone-level Dan, and you'll need to raise the strength of your body. Chen Xiang nodded his head before starting to refine the pill again. After successfully refining the second pellet, he continued. When he went to receive Yue earlier, He had instructed her to duplicate as many of the bone-level Dan's medicinal ingredients as possible. LV Chilian had already said down the alive slain method to many girls who were very familiar with Chen Xiang, and they could all trust each other. It was not easy to condense bones. Chen Xiang was clear on that point. Then Yang Tianyi had to spend a lot of time eating medicinal ingredients and vomiting to condense 3 pellets, thus Chen Xiang was mentally prepared as well. The 3rd pellet still did not succeed in the 4th, 5th, 6th, until the 7th pill. Chen Xiang suddenly felt some pain in his eyes. What's going on? There's actually pain in the eyes. This should be a sign of an opportunity. But why would it be in the eyes? When Chen Xiang's left arm condensed bones, there was a slight pain. That was an opportunity. If it were the eyes, they would inevitably suffer a bit. And the pain they would suffer would definitely be much worse than cheating. Yue saw Chen Xiang frown and ask in a low voice, "Are they coming?" "I'm not sure because I feel a little pain in my eyes," Chen Xiang said. "Is the bones in my eyes?" "Of course. Eyes are also part of the body. In short, if there's an opportunity, don't give up. Once you give up, it'll be even more difficult to appear next time." Yue was also very surprised. It actually appeared in her eyes. Gather all of your physical strength into your eyes. Although it's painful, just endure it. You should be familiar with her from the past, right? Moonchild said. Chen Xiang gritted his teeth and started to channel all his strength into his eyes to condense his bones. He was also very curious about what would happen if his eyes could condense bones, and if he were to focus on his limbs to attack, his punches and kicks would definitely be able to create a very powerful force. Yue was also thinking about this question. In the past, she had only heard from the elders about the condensed bones of those people. She also did not know how the strength of the bones was used, nor did she know how those elders had raised it. S face was pale from the pain, but he still clenched his teeth and did not make a sound. As long as I can endure it. All these years of his cultivation had been this long and painful every time he had to endure. But he had never backed down from it. Chen Xiang finally roared out in pain. In the past 2 days, the pain on Chen Xiang's head had gradually subsided. At this moment, his eyes were emitting white rays of light. It's really torturous. The white light around Chen Xiang's eyes disappeared, and his eyes returned to normal. He wiped away the blood tears on his face. "How is it?" Yue asked. "What kind of power can bones allow you to obtain?" Yue. "It's really strange that both eyes of mine have a bones inside. Bones should be inside the bones. Why is it inside the eyes this time?" Chen Xiang also felt it was inconceivable. Actually, this is within the skull. The eye sockets. These 2 places are considered more useful parts of the human body, so the condensed bones are in the eyes. This belongs to a special part, but only a few people have this part. You're special. The double bone level has actually appeared twice. Isn't that equivalent to having 4 bones? Yue was more surprised because Chen Xiang had condensed 2 bones each time, and that Yang Tianyi had spent so many years imprisoned in the star Hel. Only managed to condense 3 profound energies. If he knew that Chen Xiang was so quick, the 4 bones would have definitely caused him to faint. Even though Chen Xiang had condensed the double bone level once again, he was still a bit depressed, because the bones was already in his eyes. He did not know if it was a good thing or bad thing, but what he was sure of was that while the bones was in his eyes, it temporarily could not form a strong power. If the bones was on the legs, he could directly attack during battle. But in the eyes, one couldn't use one's face to attack during battle, right? Even though Chen Xiang had condensed the double bone level once again, he was still a bit depressed, because the bones was already in his eyes. He did not know if it was a good thing or bad thing, but what he was sure of was that while the bones was in his eyes, it temporarily could not form a strong power. If the bones was on the legs, he could directly attack during battle. But in the eyes, one couldn't use one's face to attack during battle, right? Chen Xiang, you don't have to be depressed, it's a good thing that your bones has congealed in the eye. This is a very special part, not everyone's bones can grow in this place, Yue said. Although the location of the double bone level that you just condensed cannot be attacked directly, it still has other uses. Try it yourself and see if the double bone level on your left arm can be used in contact with your eyes. He immediately nodded his head. Now that he knew what to do, he tried to create a stronger connection between the bones of these two parts of his body. He wanted to see if it could affect each other, so that the power of the bones and divine soul could be shared. My eyes are hurting. Chen Xiang tried to absorb the bones on his left arm, but when the power of the soul came over, it caused his eyes to burn, and he had no choice but to give up. How exactly do I use it? Chen Xiang was depressed to the extreme. The bones that he had spent so much effort to cultivate was actually useless. The eyes are the window to the soul of a living being. In many cases, it is possible to see what the heart of a living being is thinking through the eyes. It is also through the eyes that one can obtain the most direct information, Yue suddenly said. Bones can normally cause the body to produce a very strong power, but if it appears in a special place, it will have a special use, and cannot be equipped with common sense. Yue saw that Chen Xiang was deep in thought, and continued to speak. I feel that the bones that is condensed in your eyes is able to produce special powers in your eyes. Since your eyes already possess the bones, there is definitely nothing good about it. When Chen Xiang heard this, he started to quietly ponder. A light suddenly flashed through his mind, and he said, the essence of the bones is to stimulate the strength of the body, then if the bones appears in my eyes, then logically speaking, it should be able to unleash a power that is stronger than my eyes. What kind of power does an eye usually have? The first one will definitely be there to see. With your bones, you will definitely be able to see further, and maybe even more things, that's for sure. Try it. Yue said, when you try, don't even think about condensing a violent power. Otherwise, your eyes will hurt. I can only try it outside. What can I see here? Chen Xiang brought Yue and walked out of the time formation, and stood at the edge of the Paas sage. He looked into the depths of the earth, where a thick layer of red mist enveloped him. What did you see? Yue was also watching, but she could not see anything. The fiery red fog that was being released from the Earth's core was too thick, and it also had the power to incinerate people's mental energy. Sure enough, I saw something that I couldn't see before. What exactly is it? Chen Xiang frowned. I saw a huge pond below, it's just that it's filled with flame essence, there's something inside that's boiling over, could it be the earthly beast that you were talking about? What does it look like? Yue hurriedly asked. I can't see clearly. That fellow in the terrifying fire liquid is like a fish in water. His body is a fiery red color, but I can't see anything else. His movements are too fast. Chen Xiang said, at this time he had already felt the benefit of condensing bones. If it was before, he would not have been able to see the bottom part of the flame essence. What is that thing? Chen Xiang saw a flash. Plusing red dot on the stone wall in the depths of the cave. He controlled the bones in his eyes to strengthen his vision and quickly saw that thing. It's a fruit. It looks like a tomato, glowing red and trembling. Chen Xiang said. Is there anything else around this fruit? How did it grow? Yue hurriedly asked with a hint of surprise in her voice. She seemed to know what kind of fruit this was. It looks like it grew from a rock wall. Let me take a look. Chen Xiang rubbed his eyes. This was the first time he had used the power of the bones in his eyes to increase his eyesight, causing him to feel a little tired. As I thought, this is the unique earthly beast fruit of the core. Yue was extremely excited. You must obtain this fruit. You said that the fruit is trembling, right? It should have already matured, and is waiting for it to fall down to feed that earthly beast. Isn't this equivalent to SNATC? Hing food from earthly beast? I am currently in his territory. Is this place in danger? Chen Xiang also wanted the earthly beast fruit. The earthly beast is still weak right now. Otherwise, it would have left the core of the earth and jumped up to eat it, so you don't have to worry about him running up here. Furthermore, after that fruit is picked, it will quickly grow back. This is specially bred by the core and given to earthly beasts to eat. Yue replied, "My grandfather used to do this kind of thing as if his life depended on it. There was no need to be afraid." Chen Xiang took a deep breath and said, "All right, it will definitely be very hot when we go down. Can your spatial barrier hold up?" "There's no problem at all. Hurry up and go down," Yue said. "The fruit will soon fall, and there will be no more chances. We can't miss this chance." Chen Xiang immediately jumped down and carefully floated in the air. Currently, the danger in this place was only too great, and the earthly beast in the fire liquid could not leave the fire liquid. "Strange, how many earthly beasts are there?" Chen Xiang asked. "I should have seen more than one. These earthly beasts should not have formed yet, they are still growing. So, it's normal to have many heads. If the earthly beast fruit falls down, it will definitely cause a lot of one. Tie-in, and the person who obtains the earthly beast fruit will become even stronger." Yue said, "The core is an extremely mysterious existence. My grandfather said before that the most terrifying thing in the core is the Earth's core divine spirit, the person who controls the core. If he gets angry, he can instantly destroy the entire world." Chen Xiang was shocked in his heart. "There's actually such a thing? Is that true? Has your grandfather seen it before?" Chen Xiang had thought that a long time ago, the 9 divine kings should have been able to control this 9 heaven world, but he found out later on that the 9 heaven world was so powerful that even the 9 divine kings couldn't estimate it. In the future, after swallowing the super God realm, the divine nations would definitely occupy and control an entire region. Chen Xiang had thought that a long time ago, the 9 divine kings should have been able to control this 9 heaven world, but he found out later on that the 9 heaven world was so powerful that even the 9 divine kings couldn't estimate it. In the future, after swallowing the super God realm, the divine nations would definitely occupy and control an entire region. Now, Yue said that there was some kind of terrifying Earth's core divine spirit in this Earth's core. If this was the case, he definitely wouldn't be able to stay on the ground at ease. Don't be afraid, Earth's core divine spirit is only a legend in the star law divine realm. No one has ever seen it. But the core definitely has a certain amount of spirituality. Otherwise, it would not have nurtured a divine fruit to nurture the divine guardian beast in the core. Yue said, "Even the strong core would have a terrifying earthly beast, to prevent others from having impure motives towards the core, such as controlling the core or using the core to cause destruction." Chen Xiang had already reached the side of the earthly beast fruit. When his hand got hold of it, he immediately picked it down, and it was actually extremely cold. Furthermore, it was extremely stiff and heavy. "There's one more over there." Chen Xiang had just put away the fruit, and he also saw the red light flash. Ing in front of him. Previously, he stood at a high place, so he could not directly see the fruit on the wall at his side. Furthermore, the fruit was embedded in the cave wall, and the red light it emitted wasn't that bright either. It should have matured by now. Chen Xiang immediately flew over. Since he had seen it, he would definitely take it off. The divine beasts swimming in the lava below started to howl, because Chen Xiang had also taken the other fruit. "Goodbye. It will be back soon anyway. You can have it next time." Chen Xiang laughed and quickly went up. Not long after, he returned to the cave, and the roars below became louder, as if he was angry at the same time. "These earthly beasts are all very weak, otherwise they would have rushed up long ago." Yue laughed. Actually, you don't have to be afraid of them even if you rush up. They can't even take human form right now, and their bodies are huge too. If you hide in this cave, they definitely won't be able to come in. This passage was rather narrow, and the stones were very rigid. It was not easy to break them. What's the use of these two fruits? Chen Xiang pinched it hard. It was very strong. Other than releasing a cold qi, he couldn't feel the energy in it at all. So this is divine deity and divine soul. As long as the earthly beast eats it, it can increase one's divine deity by 1 high quality. As long as it does not reach 100 after consuming it, it can increase one's divine deity by 1. Yue replied. But only earthly beasts can do it, not humans or other beasts. Their effects will be greatly reduced. Chen Xiang was instantly overjoyed. Isn't this the same as the great divine deity? Others can't, I can. He was just worrying about not being able to cultivate to the 6th divine deity, and right now it just so happened that he was able to immediately enter the time formation. Is that really possible? I heard from my grandfather that other than earthly beast, other people and beasts can only get 10% or less of their energy after eating it. Yue said. Sure. When Chen Xiang had first fused with the great divine deity, he had used the method of refining pellets to refine it into his own divine sense C. Not only did he not lose any energy, he could even strengthen the divine deity. This divine deity should be reduced by at least 3 or 4 times. What makes me feel a little regretful is that these are all fire attribute divine deity S and divine soul S. Chen Xiang chuckled. My divine sense C already has 2 fire attribute divine deity prac. 1. Tioniers, adding the 2 here, I wonder how strong my flames will be. If it were not because the conditions did not allow it, he would definitely condense a spatial divine deity and a heavenly body's divine deity, respectively. There's a chance in the future. Right now, you need attack power, so fusing with these 2 fire attribute divine deity is the best. Yue said. Moreover, you still have to properly tap into the power of the divine deity in your eyes. I feel that it's not as simple as just increasing your eyesight. The eyes are the window of a person's heart. I feel that you can directly use the eyes to attack another person's heart, which is equivalent to a powerful spiritual attack. This is very difficult to defend against. Chen Xiang felt that this plan was very feasible, but the most important thing for him right now was to first condense 2 divine deity before deciding anything. At such a young age, I can start training inside the divine sense C. Chen Xiang placed a fruit into the divine sense C and released the magic method furnace inside. Previously, when he was refining the great divine deity, because the great divine deity required a large amount of compression, he had to first use a pill furnace outside to refine it. Right now, the earthly beast fruit was relatively small and could be directly carried out in the divine sense C. It's pretty hard to refine. The stuff bred by the Earth's core is different, it's originally very resistant to heat. Chen Xiang activated his 2 fire attribute divine deity and released the strongest flames, otherwise, he would not be able to refine the earthly beast fruit. The earthly beast fruit was extremely hard to smelt, so he used even more time than last time, a total of 5 days before there were signs of it melting, and he even used all sorts of heavenly alchemy to refine it. Only after an entire 10 days of time did he finally refine the earthly beast fruit into a mist state. At this time, he had to soak it in the divine sense C for a period of time, and let the divine deity in the divine sense C resonate with the mist, so that he could compress the mist into his divine deity. Chen Xiang had noticed it when he was refining the divine deity, so he had already pulled the divine soul out of the body and allowed his main divine soul to simulate it. Once the divine deity was completed, the divine soul could also immediately integrate into the body. Yue wagged her tail, eating all kinds of delicious things. Because she looked very cute and had a very sweet mouth, She was very popular among the girls in Hundreds of Flowers village. As a result, she also received a lot of delicious things. Fifth divine deity, large success. Chen Xiang opened his eyes, his face briming with joy. Yuer, how long did I need? Did it really succeed? You only took 15 days. Yuer was very surprised. She immediately flew over and laid on Chen Xiang's head, but sensed that there were actually 5 of them inside Divine Sense C. What an explosive divine deity, it's very hot. Yuer said in surprise. I never thought that you would be able to change this earthly beast fruit into divine soul so quickly. Even if the earthly beast eats it, it cannot be transformed into divine deity in such a way. Chen Xiang laughed. I am the alchemist, and this divine fruit is being refined by me into my divine sense C. It's very simple. He threw the remaining earthly beast fruit into the divine sense C and continued to refine it. With his previous experience, he could progress even more smoothly this time. This is great. I should have learned how to refine pills. Yu Er sighed. Being the enforcer of the star law divine realm is really a road of no return. Yuer was envious because she saw Chen Xiang refining pills. She also clearly knew that this eccentric alchemist Chen Xiang was really different from the other alchemists. The other alchemists stayed in the pill refining rooms all day. Their houses were so big that the sky and the earth went dark. She had heard of a alchemist refining a furnace of pills, and several other leaders from that sect had all come out. Yuer was envious because she saw Chen Xiang refining pills. She also clearly knew that this eccentric alchemist Chen Xiang was really different from the other alchemists. The other alchemists stayed in the pill refining rooms all day. Their houses were so big that the sky and the earth went dark. She had heard of a alchemist refining a furnace of pills, and several other leaders from that sect had all come out. You don't have to be so anxious. If you use it another 10 days or so, you will have 6 divine deities. However, we still have nearly 20 years here. Yuer said. Chen Xiang had come here in order to buy time to become stronger, and if this were to continue, it could be said that he had already reached Chen Xiang's goal of cultivating to the 6th divine deity within a month. While Chen Xiang was refining the earthly beast fruit in the divine sense C, he laughed. I will be using the rest of my time to attack bones. The bones that I managed to cultivate previously went back to my eyes, which makes me feel more regretful. I want to condense the bones on my hands and feet. When Chen Xiang possessed 4 divine deity and the double bone level above his left arm, he was already very strong. Sai, who asked you to be the alchemist? It's as easy to condense bones as to grow teeth. When she was condensing her bones back then, all she set out was blood and tears, but Chen Xiang said it easily. After 10 days, Chen Xiang suddenly burst out laughing, because he had successfully condensed 6 divine deity. The power of his flames were now even more terrifying. 4 fire attribute divine deity made from, combined with the double bone level on his left arm, attacking the meteor immortal power. Yuer couldn't help but become excited just thinking about it. It must be very strong. Yuer, look at me. Chen Xiang suddenly grabbed Yuer and carefully examined her pair of cat eyes. What is it? You used the bones in your eyes to experiment with me? There was a smile in Yuer's eyes as she replied, My divine soul is very powerful, you simply cannot cause mental attacks on me. My divine soul. Before Yuer could finish speaking, Chen Xiang said with a laugh, I saw your divine sense C, haha. Impossible, I simply did not sense a single bit of energy entering my divine sense C, you can't see it. Although Yuer said this, her voice also carried a trace of fear, as if her secret had been discovered. Chen Xiang laughed. Didn't you say that eyes are the window to the soul? The bones is condensed at the special part of my eye, so it produced a special power. I clearly saw your divine sense C just now. And your 2 divine soul. One of them is in the form of a little girl, the other is a little kitten. Yuer was dumbstruck, she shook her head. At most, you can only sense my divine soul and can never see through my divine sense see. Even if you are a very powerful expert of the 100G ODS level, you can't see through other people's divine sense see like that. Do you want me to tell you what your divine sense see looks like? Yuer's eyes were filled with fear. She seemed to be very afraid of others seeing her divine sense see, so she could not accept the fact that Chen Xiang had seen her. Tell me about it. Yuer mustered up her courage and made Chen Xiang say it out loud. If it really was like this, she could only accept it. The corner of Chen Xiang's mouth rose slightly, and then he laughed out loud. Your divine sense see has a very luxurious palace, and your divine soul is sitting on a chair inside the palace. I never thought that Yuer, your heart, had always wanted to dominate the star law divine realm. This dream is really too vast. Yuer shrieked with a meow meow sound, broke free from Chen Xiang's hands, and flew to the top of Chen Xiang's head to randomly grab his hair. Don't laugh. Yuer shouted very seriously, grabbing Chen Xiang's hair in a mess. Meow. Chen Xiang and Yuer played around for a while before both of them laid on their backs on the ground, gasping for breath. Yuer, although I feel that it's funny, it's not that I'm looking down on you. You are very strong in Star Law Divine Realm, have 3G, OD bloodline, and even met a genius alchemist like me. You can't help but become stronger in the future. Chen Xiang laughed and said, I am not bragging. Among those who have come into contact with me, as long as my relations, HI plus P with me is not bad, then I will more or less become stronger because of me. That's why, with me here, you will be able to become the Star Law Divine Realm's Empress Cat in the nick of time. Yuer humphed tenderly. You are even more narcissistic than me, but what's strange is that your divine sense see is so ordinary. Is your goal really that simple? Do you only want to live the most ordinary life? If that's really the case, then your talent is truly a waste. Chen Xiang stroked his chin and said with a smile, I have seen you, Sister Feng, Qilian, Xianxian, and Menger, the few divine sense CS, and they all have a lot in common. Bulls. HI plus T, whose divine sense C is not this exaggerated. Your divine sense C is the most abnormal. Yuer was extremely unhappy. She felt that since Chen Xiang's divine sense C was so ordinary, he should have a very high ideal. Although it was absurd, many people would construct their divine sense C like that, so their divine soul would be able to unleash its strongest power. I'm not saying that what you have in common is an exaggeration, but you all only have one divine sense C. Chen Xiang smiled slightly. Yuer fiercely jumped up. Don't tell me you have two divine sense CS? How is that possible? I have never heard of such a thing, and it is impossible for it to exist. I really do have two divine sense CS, but the other one is hidden very deeply. Chen Xiang laughed. Not unless you show it to me. Yuer snorted. You have to show me. You have already seen my divine sense C, and I can see that your divine sense C is only a fake one. I want to see your real divine sense C. Yuer was already starting to believe that Chen Xiang, who had created so many legends in Nine Heaven World, wouldn't be that simple. Nope. Chen Xiang stuck out his tongue at her, and Yuer meowed. She immediately threw herself at him, grabbed his hair, and started messing with him again. Yuer shouted, Hurry up and let me see. I want to see. Chen Xiang finally managed to calm her down. He didn't think that this kitten that was making such a ruckus was actually so scary. I have a second divine sense C, but it's in a very strange state. I can feel it, but I can't see it myself. In short, I am very sure that my second divine sense C exists and has existed for a long time. However, for some unknown reason, I have been unable to open the gate to the second divine sense C. Chen Xiang frowned. I feel like I've lost something. Originally, the first divine sense C I opened should have been the second divine sense C, because that was already there. But then, for some reason, I caused the divine sense C to become like this. Yue was extremely curious about Chen Xiang's second divine sense. She really wanted to know how a person like Chen Xiang would look like as a real divine sense, a person who reacts to the beautiful fantasies in the deepest part of a person's heart. It's just that Chen Xiang didn't even know what he was thinking right now, so Yue couldn't get any information about the real situation from Chen Xiang either. Yue was extremely curious about Chen Xiang's second divine sense. She really wanted to know how a person like Chen Xiang would look like as a real divine sense, a person who reacts to the beautiful fantasies in the deepest part of a person's heart. It's just that Chen Xiang didn't even know what he was thinking right now, so Yue couldn't get any information about the real situation from Chen Xiang either. Chen Xiang now knew one of the uses of bones in the eyes. Being able to see someone's divine sense could not be considered very useful, but it could be said that he was able to see someone's inner thoughts. I feel that the bones of my eyes can also be used to attack, Chen Xiang said, his eyes releasing a ray of red light. Although it was only for a moment, it was true that millions of red light beams had converged, and this was the heart-permeable demon eye that he had learned from Bai Yuyu. This was the move that he had the least use. If he used it, then someone would really be in trouble. It's not strong enough to deal with ordinary Empyrean GODS, but it's not enough to deal with those with great defense and armor. Many beasts have very tough scales on their bodies. Little Moon also saw the terror of that red light. It was able to emit a hair-like red light with an extremely strange penetrating power. It could penetrate a person's body in an instant and cause fatal damage. However, the light rays were still too weak. It was not a problem to deal with people with a lower cultivation level than Chen Xiang, but for people with a higher cultivation than him, or people with a strong defense, it was ineffective. So I plan to develop in this area. Not only will it allow my eyes to see more, I will also be able to have the power to attack. Right now, I am unable to transform too much of the Six Realms power, mainly because I don't have the bones nor the soul inside. The double bone level in my eyes are lacking a good soul. Chen Xiang's eyes released a red light again. This time, although the penetrating power of the red thread had increased a lot, it was still extremely limited. As Chen Xiang walked out of the time formation, Yue was a little puzzled, not knowing what he wanted to do. Yue flew above Chen Xiang's head and asked, "Are you going back?" After Chen Xiang put away the formation plate, he looked at the entrance of the cave that was continuously surging with hot air and laughed. "Of course not, I want to go down and take a look at those earthly beasts. These guys should all have pretty good divine souls, right? Their soul is definitely not bad, but can you handle it now?" Yue was a little surprised. Chen Xiang's eyes lacked a divine soul. She did not expect Chen Xiang to actually have the idea about those earthly beasts. How do you know without trying? Chen Xiang was very confident right now. He had just condensed two divine deity, and they both had very powerful divine souls within them, so the matter of him concentrating his other souls was saved. This time, he was not only going down to see how strong the earthly beasts were, but also to see if there were any more earthly fruit down there. Chen Xiang jumped down the deep pit that led to the core fire essence. Yue held onto one of his arms, releasing the S.P.A.C. domain to help him block the heat. "You can't resist the heat here yourself?" Yue asked. "When you make your move, I'll have to follow you." "I can't do that for now. Follow me, there won't be any danger." Chen Xiang had also never tried whether or not he could leave Yue and freely walk around. He also didn't want to try. When they approached the bottom, Chen Xiang heard the earthly beast roaring. These earthly beasts sensed Chen Xiang's qi, and all of them roared. They all remembered that this was the human who took their divine fruit. How vengeful! Chen Xiang laughed. "Those who are not crazy will hold a grudge. You are the one who snatch head away their great chance to increase their divine deity." Yue smiled. When Chen Xiang got closer, he could see the appearances of these earthly beasts more clearly. They all looked very strange. There were snake-shaped, tiger-shaped, horse-shaped, and they all had one thing in common, that was that their bodies were wrapped in a layer of fire liquid. There's quite a number. There's actually 5. Chen Xiang took out the cyan dragon blade. Although these earthly beasts were still in the growth stage, they had been in the heart of the earth all year round, and they weren't afraid of the flame essence. In the end, they could only survive one. Only then could it be considered to have grown, and after one earthly beast remained, they would be able to enjoy the earthly beast fruit on their own. Every once in a while, they would be able to increase their divine deity by 2. Yue replied, "This is the terrifying aspect of earthly beast. It's time to jump up." Yue suddenly screamed. Chen Xiang had always been paying attention to the earthly beast below. When he saw the red light suddenly flash past, he instinctively dodged, and before long, it was a snake-shaped earthly beast, and when it flew over it was as if a red lightning bolt had suddenly struck him. "You actually managed to escape. Yue, hold on tight." Chen Xiang immediately dodged to the side and used the time attribute within the God murdering sword techniques to slow down the snake-shaped earthly beast. Boom! Chen Xiang's body suddenly exploded with a noise. The 4-flame divine deity in his divine sense C absorbed the 6 realms' power fiercely, transforming these 6 realms' power into a fire attribute divine power, and then, Rus. Hi plus into his left arm. He collided with the bones in his left arm. This triggered a strong burst of energy, causing his left arm to rapidly expand. The azure dragon sword also roared, resonating in the center of the earth. After absorbing the powerful energy from Chen Xiang's left arm, the azure dragon sword released a strong dragon chi, which rushed out from the fitness center. H. Plus, Chen Xiang slashed at the snake head that was as thick as a water jar. The snake head earthly beast was unable to dodge in time. Its entire head was chopped off by Chen Xiang, but its body was still bounced violently. "Come in." Chen Xiang took out the 6 realms mirrors and sealed the head and body of the earthly beast into the divine realm. After he had succeeded, Chen Xiang was extremely happy. That blade strike from before even frightened him, and if not for the after-effects emitted from the heart of the earth, he would have been able to destroy a large part of the forest. Just as he was about to return, a weak vibration came from behind. Chen Xiang dodged hastily, but he still felt a burning sensation on his back. This animal. Chen Xiang knew that his back had just been scratched just a moment ago. What a terrifying penetrating force, to actually be able to penetrate through my scorching sun heavenly elephant. His celestial phenomenon ascendant was able to appear instantly, but the claw of the God tiger beast that ambushed him earlier was able to injure him. Several scratches appeared on his back. I should be using the cloud and cloud constellation. This was the first time Chen Xiang had gotten injured while using the scorching sun heavenly elephant. Just now, he had already felt the sharp claws deeply pierce into his back. The tiger God's body was huge, like an adult cow. Its entire body was wrapped in fire essence. Its red eyes shot out a strong killing intent. He opened his mouth and roared, then rushed towards Chen Xiang once again. The tiger God's body was huge, like an adult cow. Its entire body was wrapped in fire essence. Its red eyes shot out a strong killing intent. He opened his mouth and roared, then rushed towards Chen Xiang once again. What a terrifying divine sense! The instant Chen Xiang met the divine beast's gaze, he saw divine sense C of the divine beast. The sky above the divine sense C was filled with raging fire clouds, while the sea water inside the divine sense C was frantically churning fire liquid. It was because of this that this tiger-shaped divine beast had such a violent attack power. "Don't you dare hurt me again." Chen Xiang's eyes opened, releasing a white light that shot into the eyes of the tiger God, and the tiger God's claws had already raised up, revealing its sharp claws like a sharp dagger. Just as it was about to attack, it suddenly stopped. Even the as sieve body of the Go, delay tiger form was floating in the air. Die. In a flash, Chun Xiang arrived at the side of the tiger-shaped divine beast and slashed at its neck. The tiger-shaped divine beast immediately separated from its head and died on the spot. Hurry up. Just a moment ago, she had also almost been caught by him. Seeing that Chun Xiang had already flown to a relatively higher place, she heaved a sigh of relief. These fellows' offensive abilities are really frightening, moreover, they are only in their infancy. We can see that they have yet to take shape. Oh right, what did you do just now? Why did that guy stop? Yue, who was behind Chun Xiang's neck, did not see the two white lights that suddenly shot out from Chun Xiang's eyes. I have used the bones of my eyes to carry out my attack. After I saw his divine sense see, I immediately released a stream of energy that was condensed by the bones of my eyes towards him. Although it was very weak, upon entering that fellow's divine sense see, he actually caused his divine sense see to freeze. Chun Xiang said, I never thought that the power released from the bones in my eyes would be so special and have such a strong attack towards the divine sense see. If I were to merge it with my soul, I would definitely be even more powerful. Yue had said before that the bones of the eyes could cause serious damage to the soul of the divine sense see, and this was indeed the case. Returning to the top, Chun Xiang immediately took out an array disk and entered the time formation. He then took out the two divine beast souls from the 6 realms mirrors and fused them with his eyes' bones. Meanwhile, his body had already turned into a stream of flame essence, refined into a 6 realms power by the 6 realms mirrors. The 6 realms mirrors would produce a strong wave of 6 realms power every month, and Chun Xiang would absorb the 6 realms power into his own divine sense see to strengthen his own. It's fused. Chun Xiang's eyes flashed as flames burst out of them and shot out 2 fiery red rays of light, and an extremely terrifying wave of hot air immediately enveloped over. It's so hot. Is this released from your eyes? Yue said in shock. His eyes can actually release such power. If it were to hit a person with 6 divine deity, it should be able to directly pierce through. Chun Xiang closed his eyes and said, I can't do it yet. I don't have enough strength to concentrate it, or else it wouldn't be emitting such a strong heat. Let me try again. This is something I've created based on the heart-permeable demon eye and the meteor immortal power. What, you made the meteor immortal power form in your eyes? Aren't you afraid that the meteor immortal power will explode out of control? That's something that can cause one's head to explode. Yours, Hi plus Verid. She didn't think that Chun Xiang would be so reckless, but even if Chun Xiang dared to take such a risk, it would allow him to control even more power. It's fine, I have good control. Chun Xiang was extremely confident in himself. There are quite a few advantages to condensing bones from your eyes. Your eyesight has become very strong, and you can also look at other people's divine sense see, and interfere with the operation of other people's divine sense see. These are all very gentle uses, and that move of yours just now was too fierce. Yue was also afraid that when Chun Xiang looked at her, his eyes would shoot out 2 beams of light that would pierce through her small body. Chun Xiang opened her eyes again, and this time, the light in her eyes weren't as intense as before, but the concentrated power of the light was even more terrifying. If these 2 trials can be used on someone else's divine sense see, this would definitely be a devastating attack. Yue said in shock, Don't look at me like that, I'm afraid. What are you afraid of? It's not like I'm going to hurt you. Chun Xiang grabbed her and rubbed her little head while he laughed. You have the fire soul now too, and there's still 19 years of time here. What else do you need to do? Cultivate a little more divine deity, then you won't be able to partake. 1p8 in the battle with the Hel Devil Emperor. Yue said. That's right, I already have 6 divine deity now. I can't even cultivate another one, but I can still cultivate bones. Chun Xiang took out 2 sets of bone-level Dan's medicinal ingredient. You already have 4 bones. If you want to continue cultivating it, you will need at least a mid-tier bone level Dan. Every time Chen Xiang condensed bones, he would condense double bone level S 2 times, and that would make 4 bones pellet. As for those strong warriors at the peak, they were at most at 9 bones, which was more than half of his original strength. Although I have 4 bones in other aspects, I can only be considered 2, because I have only evoked the opportunity to condense bones twice. Chen Xiang laughed as he released a magic method furnace and placed the bone-level Dan's medicinal ingredients inside. Then, 2 beams of fire shot out from his eyes as he transformed the 2 sets of bone-level Dan's medicinal ingredients into medicine ores, almost instantly completing the task. This scene scared Yue silly. Previously, she had seen Chen Xiang burning bone-level Dan's medicinal ingredients, so it would take a period of time. But now, through her eyes, it was completed in an instant. It really is useful. Chen Xiang chuckled and said, "Just now I used Divine Sense C's 4 fire divinations, and adding the 2 flame bones in front of my eyes, I finished it in an instant, which is faster than I imagined." Yue took a deep breath. Those old alchemists can go and die now. Chen Xiang never thought that the bones in his eyes would actually have this kind of ability. He only recalled the steps of refining a bone-level Dan. The first thing he needed was the original source refining, the spirit blood S that were refining all kinds of divine medicines. Once the spirit blood was fused together, they could fuse all kinds of divine medicines together. However, after releasing the 2 flames from his eyes, it actually went as far as he wanted and was almost as free as he wanted. He knew that the 2 flames carried intelligence and completed these steps in an instant. It should have this effect even to the pills I have refined. I will try the Zhongping Dan again when I have divine medicine. Chen Xiang began to fuse the air mod S into a core. It should have this effect even to the pills I have refined. I will try the Zhongping Dan again when I have divine medicine. Chen Xiang began to fuse the air ma SS into a core. This was refined from 2 batches of bone-level Dan S. If Chen Xiang had used this earlier, he would also need some time to increase his maximum speed. Being able to complete this in an instant had already exceeded his expectations. Only 2 divine medicines would be able to condense a single pill. This could improve the quality of the divine pills. The quality is very high, but it can't be considered a Zhongping Dan. There is still some distance between them. Yue said. Chen Xiang nodded his head. This one is between lower and middle graded. He placed the bone-level Dan in his mouth, and after eating it, he only needed 4 hours to refine the effects. It's not enough yet. Seems like I need 6 sets of medicinal herbs. Chen Xiang took out 6 more batches of bone-level Dan S and used the same method before to shoot out 2 streams of flames from his eyes. This time, he wasn't able to instantly refine 6 batches of bone-level Dan S medicine, but his speed was still fast, and it was done in just a few blinks of an eye. This bone-level Dan's medicinal ingredients are really easy to refine. It's basically not difficult at all. Chen Xiang would be able to condense his core very soon. That's for you. If the other alchemists were to refine it like this, who knows how many times they would have to fail before being able to succeed. Yue understood a little about concocting pills, and it was extremely difficult for Chen Xiang to concoct a few medicinal ingredients like this together. However, right now, Chen Xiang was just playing around, casually condensing a pill. Very quickly, Chen Xiang managed to condense a high-quality bone-level Dan. After he ate it, he refined it for 14 hours, which normally required him to control it for around 6 hours. He wouldn't be able to trigger the opportunity to condense bones the first time, so he didn't think much of it and started the second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time. In just a few days, he only had 1 portion of bone-level Dan's medicine left. What's going on? Before I can trigger the opportunity, all of my medicinal herbs will be gone. Chen Xiang was a little agitated. If I go look for Sister Feng now, I won't be able to get much, because not many days have said since we last met. These 100 batches of bone-level dans were considered to be a lot for Feng Yujie and the rest. They would not be able to replicate that much in a short amount of time. Although Chen Xiang had stayed in the time formation for a few days, he did not stay outside for too long. I can only copy it myself. Chen Xiang took out the 6 realms mirrors, and while absorbing the 6 realms power, he condensed spirit liquid. The third chance is a little more difficult, and you have 4 divine deity yourself, so it's even more difficult. You need to try multiple times, and you have some patience. If that were the case, then she would have been able to balance her heart a bit. She had used 10,000 years to successfully trigger the third opportunity. Chen Xiang was very patient. He did not know how many times he tried, but he only knew that after he continuously condensed spirit liquid, duplicated bone-level dan's medicinal herbs, refined the bone-level dan, and ate and refined it, he did not succeed, and then repeated this step again. He continued to persevere like this for 18 years. She wandered outside, occasionally running to the deep pit in the center of the earth to take a look. She stayed outside for more than 10 days, then entered the time formation again. The battle with the Hel Devil Emperor is about to begin. It's time for him to return. Yue was responsible for calculating the time. When she entered the array, she saw Chen Xiang rolling and shouting on the ground. The little devil succeeded. Yue didn't dare believe it. Chen Xiang had successfully summoned the third opportunity to condense bones within the span of tens of years. Back then, she had continuously gone through this process for many years before finally succeeding. This time it's in my leg. Chen Xiang's pant leg had already cracked open, and the muscles on his thigh had swelled up. Yue was very clear that they were really going to condense bones, and as long as they could persevere on, they would definitely be able to Chen Xiang was in so much pain that it would have been better to die 2 days later. Did it work? Yue looked at Chen Xiang's handsome face, which was gradually recovering its color. Chen Xiang closed his eyes and did not speak. He was breathing evenly, and after a while, he said slowly, I have stayed here for 18 years and have finally reached my goal. 6 divine deity, 6 bones. 6 bones? Yue was in disbelief. What's on your legs is also a double divine deity? Chen Xiang nodded. What exactly happened here? Could it be that every time I am here, I become a double bone level? Could this have something to do with you possessing a second divine sense? She was now even more convinced that Chen Xiang possessed a mysterious divine sense. Only by doing this could she explain why Chen Xiang always appeared as a double bone level. Chen Xiang frowned. That's possible. Why would the second divine sense affect my bones? I don't know either. This is the first time I've seen something like this. All sorts of weird things happen to you. Why are you bowing? Yue was a little jealous, especially at Chen Xiang's double bone level. Chen Xiang had already recovered his strength. He sat up, patted on his right leg and sighed. Why can't I be on the right arm? It's good that you don't grow in any strange places. At the very least, it will give your legs a lot of strength. When competing with the Hel Devil Emperor, can't I use divine weapons? The parts you possess, the bones, are divine weapons, especially the limbs, which are the most convenient places to attack. Yue said. Chen Xiang and Yue walked out of the time formation, and he kept all the formation plate. Yue, how much time do we have to start the compet? 1. Tian? Tomorrow morning. Yue replied, Why? You still have to be here. Let's go, there are still 3 earthly beasts down there. We'll take care of 2 more and leave 1 here. Chen Xiang grabbed Yue, letting her lie on his shoulder. The bones of the legs does not have a soul, this is not perfect. Chen Xiang laughed and jumped into the pit. 2 of the 5 divine beasts bred in the center of the earth had already been killed by Chen Xiang, and all of them were in his eyes and bones. Now that 2 more bones have condensed in his legs, of course he had come to look for these earthly beast. Unlucky earthly beast. Yue chuckled. This time, Chen Xiang was much more powerful than the last time he came here. Just as he came down, 2 bird-shaped earthly beasts flew over and were killed by him with a few moves. There is also a horse-shaped one. This guy is so lucky. There's no need to compete with the other earthly beasts. In the future, when I grow here, I'll be able to eat 2 earthly beast fruits every so often. Yue looked at the smallest of the horse-shaped divine beasts and said with a tender smile, "This guy should be thanking you in advance. Just don't attack me next time." Chen Xiang chuckled, then flew up into the air and entered the time formation, fusing the 2 divine souls into the bones on his legs. After Chen Xiang completed the double bone level, which contained his 2 divine souls and fused them with his legs, he felt that his legs were filled with power, just like the last time where his arm fused with his soul. After Chen Xiang completed the double bone level, which contained his 2 divine souls and fused them with his legs, he felt that his legs were filled with power, just like the last time where his arm fused with his soul. When he walked out of the time formation, he used his great strength to stomp on the ground, causing a wave of flames to erupt. His surroundings also slightly trembled, not releasing the power he just obtained. He felt very uncomfortable. It's already very powerful. Right now, your 6 divine deity and 6 bones shouldn't be a problem for you to deal with an initial stage 2 God, Yue exclaimed in shock. Earlier, when Chen Xiang had fiercely used the power of the meteor immortal power, it was rather terrifying for someone who only possessed 6 divine deity. Alright, how much time do we have to go back and start now? Chen Xiang asked. Go back and get some sleep. You can gather in the morning, Yue said as she lay on Chen Xiang's body. After she and Chen Xiang left the tunnel and reached the surface, Chen Xiang took out an array disc and teleported to 100 Flowers Pavilion before heading to City Lord's mansion. It was already late at night, but the inside of the City Lord's mansion was still lively. Wu Keiming was currently in a meeting with some big shot. Zhou Xing, Mu Qianxiang, and the others were also in the City Lord's mansion. Chen Xiang and the others were going to the battlefield tomorrow to fight against the 3 mysterious rankers sent by the Hel Devil Emperor. Do you know who our opponent is? Chen Xiang saw that Zhou Xing and Mu Qianxiang were both in the hall as he walked in. Right now, one of them is Fu Tiangao, Mu Qianxiang said. We were almost tricked by this guy earlier, luckily we found out their motive in time. It was very normal for the son of the Fu Tian school, Fu Tiangao, to rely on the Hel Devil Emperor for his evil technique. However, for Fu Tiangao to fight in this battle, it meant that the Hel Devil Emperor attached a great deal of importance to Fu Tiangao, so he definitely had a bit of strength. The Fu Tian school has suffered heavy losses as well. Who let them think about exterminating our clan? Serves them right. I met this fellow tomorrow. I definitely won't let him off. Mu Qianxiang's face was filled with fury. Fu Tiangao and his father had previously surrounded him before, but in the end they still escaped. Zhou Xing frowned. The situation might not be good for us because they already know what's happening on our side. On the day of the selection, there must be spies amongst the disciples that are partic. 1p aiding, and they will definitely leak out our details. Mu Qianxiang was also worried that they had used all their strength during the previous selection and that Chen Xiang's weakness had also been discovered by him. Although it had said through 20 days of special training, it couldn't make up for much of it. We have to find out how many spies and see how many spies he revealed, Chen Xiang said. These guys don't hide so well. Although there aren't many people who partic. 1p aided in the first time, it wasn't hard for us to guard against them. Zhou Xing sighed, because he had only just found out about Fu Tiangao's situation, that's why he thought that the Hel El Devil Emperor had some people planted inside. Initially, there were only 100 or so Partic. 1p ants in the selection. Chun Xiang rolled his eyes and said, I will go find the little Baldy and have him gather all the disciples that attended the selection that day. I have a way to confirm if there is a spy. What method? Mu Qianxiang did not believe that Zhou Xing would do the same. Secret. Chun Xiang immediately entered the conference room and sat down. Several tens of people, who were elders-level penalty heavenly gods of various major powers, asked, What is it, Chun Xiang? There's something important to talk about, Chun Xiang said. Zhou Xing and Mu Qianxiang's worry. That is something that we had already thought of a long time ago. Thus, you don't have to worry about us choosing disciples very strictly, penalty heavenly god said. Furthermore, I am personally responsible for this. If you're really worried, then what are you going to do? Call them here first. Tell them to be worried that if something goes wrong, they might come here to be their substitute. I toot. Chun Xiang said. Back then, they did not discover that Fu Tiangao had snuck into the devil-killing heavenly god, so Chun Xiang was still a bit worried. Wu Kaming said, The gathering is almost done. Everyone, go call those brats over. LV Qilian was also there. She immediately went back to call Shuang, Ji Meixian and Ling Yulan, who were still in Hundreds of Flowers village. Yun Xiaodao and the others were also there. In less than an hour, a great hall of the city lord's mansion was filled with people. This was not only the disciples who had Partic 1p aided in the selection that day, but also some spectators who had come to watch the compet. 1 Tian. When LV Qilian came, he also told Bai Yuyu and Bai Ziqian that they were present at the time, so they had come as well. There were several hundred people here, and many of them were heavyweights and elders of a certain force. It was hard to say how long El Devil Emperor would take, but even they did not know. Right now they were also a little worried in their hearts. Chun Xiang sent a sound transmission to the penalty heavenly god to ask him to tell him the reason behind gathering the people. The penalty heavenly god didn't know what Chun Xiang was planning, but Chun Xiang had said that he had a way of finding out whether or not there were any secrets to the event that day, so he loudly said, Among the lot of you, one of us leaked the secret to the event that day. This secret is mainly related to the way our disciples, who are Partic 1p aiding, fought through this. When the penalty heavenly god said this, Chun Xiang's eyes, which had merged with the bones, locked onto everyone's eyes. Right when the penalty heavenly god said that, he caught 3 people whose gazes were off. There are actually 2 elders. These 2 elders should be from the floating life divine city, right? Chun Xiang heard Wu Kaming talk about how Lu Fuxing from the floating city had helped him back then, so he was more concerned about the floating life divine city. Their eyes were just a little bit off. Chun Xiang was not sure yet, but when he tried to take a closer look, he discovered that their divine sense C was shockingly red in color. It was obvious that they were affected by the cultivation of demonic technique. The young man was even more so, the corpses in the divine sense C. There were blood all over the place, and on top of a mountain of corpses sat his soul. His hair was messy, his eyes were red, and his body emitted a fiendish aura that soared to the sky. This guy is actually from devil-killing divine city? Chun Xiang looked at the man's attire, and was very surprised to see that an outstanding disciple of the devil-killing divine city had actually mixed into his cultivation method and cultivation method. Chun Xiang immediately sent a sound transmission to devil-killing heavenly god and the others to inform them of the abnormality of the 3 people. The 3 of them noticed that Gu Dongchen and the other few big shots were looking at them. Although they looked very calm, Chun Xiang could see from the slight change in their eyes that they were panicking.